Chapter 2166 Psychedelic Forest. Upon hearing Yun Chujia's words, Manager Lu could not help but complain in his heart, Miss Fangcao, although your intentions are good, we only have 5 guards with us. Moreover, our spiritual power isn't particularly high. What if we run into danger? Let's just walk around the edge of the forest. We're not going in. It's fine. Well, just take it as a distraction, Yun Chujio said with a smile. She had already made contact with Enfeng, and Enfeng was not far away from her. It was not a problem for them to walk around the edge of the forest. Manager Lu knew that Yun Chujio had a good idea, so he did not dare to say anything more. He let the flying spirit tool land on the edge of the forest. Manager Lu, what's the name of this forest? Yun Chujio asked while looking at it curiously. Manager Lu took out the map and looked at it, his expression changed. Miss Fang Chao, this forest is a psychedelic forest. It said that there are many poisonous mushrooms in the depths of the forest that can make people hallucinate. Why don't we go somewhere else? Don't worry, I'm just walking around the edge. When Yun Chujio heard that there were poisonous mushrooms, she was overjoyed. The more poisonous the mushroom, the more delicious it was. No matter what, she had to pick some poisonous mushrooms to eat back home. Manager Lu and the others did not know what this guy was planning. They believed him and followed Yun Chujio into the psychedelic forest. The outer area of the psychedelic forest was no different from the forest in the western continent. There were only some yellow rank herbs on the ground occasionally, which proved that the spiritual energy here was very rich. Yun Chujio saw some wild fruits inside and didn't care whether they were poisonous or not, she just kept pulling them into her storage ring. Manager Lu clicked his tongue as he watched, thinking to himself that this little ancestor was really over the top, not even letting go of wild fruits. As they walked deeper, some demon beasts began to appear. However, perhaps because of the edge, the level of the demon beasts that appeared were not very high, and most of them were around level 27. As Yun Chujio was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger, she was clearly at level 4 of the spiritual profound realm. Others looked like they were only at level 6 of the spiritual venerable realm, so when they saw a level 27 demonic beast. Manager Lu said fawningly, Miss Fangcao, didn't you want to have a trial? It's most suitable to use this level 27 longhorned violent bull to practice. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Too weak. Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? I'll only attack if I meet someone of a higher level. Manager Lu cursed in his heart. You're only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm, what are you so arrogant for? You might not even be able to deal with someone at the 27th level. And you still dare to dream of dealing with someone even more powerful? Just as Manager Lu was thinking about it, he heard a few sneers. Some people really overestimate themselves. Someone at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm is still so picky about dealing with high-level demonic beasts. It's simply hilarious. That's right. Does she think that anyone can come to this psychedelic forest? One look and you can tell that she's a country bumpkin. She doesn't know anything. She's just here to court death. Along with the sneers, a group of people walked over from afar. There were men and women, and there were many guards following behind them. Yun Chujio saw at a glance that there was an ancient character embroidered on the corner of a red-clothed girl's clothes, Yi. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. A member of the Yi family? It was really a narrow road for enemies. She did not know who the person was from the Yi family. Manager Lu was very shrewd. When he saw that the person was not to be trifled with, he immediately gave Yun Chujio a look to advise her not to cause trouble, or else she would get into trouble. Of course, Yun Chujio was not stupid enough to hit a rock with an egg. Not to mention the spiritual power of these young men, the guards behind them did not seem to have a lower spiritual power than Enfeng. They were probably at the spiritual void level. It would definitely not end well if they fought. Chapter 2167, you guys look a little alike. Yun Chujia's side remained silent. Those people mocked her a little, but seeing that it was meaningless, they decided to leave. At this moment, a young girl dressed in white said in surprise, "Bingyu, why does that country bumpkin look a little like you?" Previously, no one had really looked closely at Yun Chujia's appearance. When they heard the white-clothed girl say this, many people's gazes fell on Yun Chujio, especially the red-clothed girl. She was annoyed to discover that the country bumpkin opposite her did indeed look similar to her. The most hateful thing was that the country bumpkin was more beautiful than her. The red-robed girl felt that she could not hold back anymore. She glared at the white-robed girl. "Lu Jinluan, why are you comparing me to a trash? What are your intentions?" The white-robed girl. Lu Jinluan's face was filled with embarrassment. "I was just saying that. Besides, how can a trash like her be compared to you? Don't be angry. If you don't like her, just get someone to kill them all." Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. She made it sound so natural. It seemed that this Lu Jinluan was not a good person. Moreover, her family background should be pretty good. She might even be a disciple of a first-class family. Before the red-dressed girl could speak, a man who looked somewhat similar to Lu Jinluan berated, "Jinluan, don't spout nonsense. Sister Bingyu, it's more important for us to look for the rainbow crystal mushroom. Let's hurry." That man was obviously the leader among these young people. Hence, even though Lu Jinluan and the red-dressed girl wanted to find trouble with Yun Chujio, they still followed that man and continued to walk inside. When he saw that Lu Jinluan and the rest had disappeared, Manager Lu wiped the sweat off his forehead. Even his back was drenched. He spoke with a sobbing tone, "Miss Fangcao, if my guess is correct, those people are from first-class families. They are not people we can afford to provoke. If you want to train, let's go somewhere else. Otherwise, if we meet them again, we might be doomed." Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. She knew that if they really fought, her current strength would be like an egg hitting a stone. In the end, Yun Chujio decided to avoid Lu Jinluan and the others. After all, it was not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. She would wait and see in the future. Therefore, she asked Manager Lu, "If we go further, is there still such a large forest?" Manager Lu did not dare to lie, so he could only tell the truth. Although there are still a few forests, the area is very small. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes and thought for a while. "How about this, we go around to the west, so that we won't meet them." Manager Lu heard Yun Chujio's words and felt that it was fine. After all, they were going in two different directions. They shouldn't meet those people again. Therefore, the group took a detour of more than 10 miles to the west of the psychedelic forest and continued to walk inside. At this moment, a 30-step iron-bone wild boar rushed out and pounced on Yun Chujio while howling. The guards behind were about to help when Yun Chujio shouted, "Don't worry about it. I'll deal with it." Yun Chujio was already holding her anger in her heart. Seeing that this damn iron-bone wild boar didn't pounce on anyone, but pounced on her, she became even angrier. "Fuck, even a persimmon is easy to pick, and even a pig like you dares to bully me? Today, I'll make sure you never come back." Manager Lu and those guards had helpless expressions. This Miss Fong Chao was good in every way, but she was too proud. "You're only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm, and this 30-level iron-bone wild boar is equivalent to the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm. Can you do it?" Chapter 2168, Awesome 10,000-year-old fire marrow. Yun Chujio nimbly dodged the iron-bone wild boar's attack and fired several bolts of lightning at the boar. As Yun Chujio's spiritual power increased, the number of bolts of lightning she fired not only increased to 8, but each bolt of lightning was as thick as an adult's pinky finger. Whether it was Manager Lu or the 5 guards, it was the first time they saw Yun Chujio use her spiritual power to attack. They were all dumbfounded. So this was the spiritual power attack of the Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root. It was really awesome. This was simply a miniature Heavenly Thunder. However, after they were shocked, they shook their heads. Although the spiritual power attack of the Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root was pretty awesome, as the spiritual power increased, it was better to use a spiritual beast to attack. They didn't know if Miss Fong Chao could materialize her spiritual power. Just as they were nodding and shaking their heads, a burnt smell suddenly came along with the screams of the iron-bone wild boar. They took a closer look and saw the huge body of the iron-bone wild boar fall to the ground. Black smoke rose from its body. It was obviously dead. Manager Lu and the 5 guards looked at each other. What exactly happened? How did the iron-bone wild boar die in the blink of an eye? They were dumbfounded, and Yun Chujio was even more dumbfounded. Her back was facing Manager Lu and the other 3. She stared at her right hand. At the moment just now, there seemed to be a flame shooting out from her palm. Then, she realized that the iron-bone wild boar was emitting black smoke. Could it be the 10,000-year-old fire marrow? The flame on Yun Chujio's right palm was no different from usual, as if everything was an illusion for Yun Chujio. Miss Fangcao, you are really amazing. You killed a level 30 iron-bone wild boar in less than 3 moves. Manager Lu came back to his senses and said flatteringly, he thought that Yun Chujio used the power of lightning to kill the iron-bone wild boar, and the reason why the iron-bone wild boar was emitting smoke was naturally the result of lightning. Yun Chujio couldn't explain further. She said with a smile, of course. I have a Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root, so I naturally have special abilities. Let's go. Let's continue to take a look inside. Manager Lu saw that Yun Chujio was indeed capable, so he didn't stop her and continued to follow Yun Chujio inside. Not long after, they met a level 32 sword-toothed double-tailed leopard. Yun Chujio wanted to test the 10,000-year-old fire marrow, so before Manager Lu and the others could react, Yun Chujio rushed forward and fought with the saber-toothed double-tailed leopard. Manager Lu was anxious and angry. He thought to himself, this Miss Fong Chao was too easy to be proud of. Although she had easily killed the iron-bone wild boar just now, it was still a level 30 demonic beast after all, and this saber-toothed double-tailed leopard was level 32. That was equivalent to the 2nd to 3rd level of the Lingxian realm. Could she do it? Be careful. If Miss Fong Chao is no match for you, hurry up and save her. Manager Liu's words came to an abrupt end because he heard a few screams from the saber-toothed twin-tailed leopard. Then, he saw that the saber-toothed twin-tailed leopard had turned into a corpse that was emitting black smoke. Manager Lu and the 5 guards were so shocked that they could not speak. How was this possible? In the blink of an eye, the level 32 saber-toothed twin-tailed panther had died. They were shocked, and Yun Chujio was even more shocked. This 10,000-year-old fire marrow was too awesome, wasn't it? It was only in its infancy, but it was already so powerful. It could practically be compared to Xiao Hanio's Nirvana fire. Xiao Hanio was immediately unhappy. Master, what you said is wrong. The 10,000 years fire marrow only injured a level 32 demonic beast. Back then, my Nirvana fire killed a large group of high-level demonic beasts, and there was no lack of level 37 and above demonic beasts. Moreover, I am only a small phoenix. Chapter 2169 Fire was also unreliable. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Your Nirvana fire is indeed powerful, but didn't you say that you would fall into hibernation after using it once? How could it be convenient to use this 10,000-year-old fire marrow? Xiao Hanio was poked in a sore spot by Yun Chujio. She rolled her eyes and did not say anything. Yun Chujio, this fellow, felt that she had opened the door to a new world. She did not expect to accidentally obtain such a good treasure. So what if she did not have a Qi-Ling? Didn't this little flame still help her kill demonic beasts? This was simply a good helper for killing people and stealing goods. Manager Lu only recovered after a long time. He didn't even know how to say flattery, because he couldn't think of any adjectives to express his shock. He felt that he must have encountered a fake 6th level spiritual venerable. Which family's 6th level spiritual venerable could kill a 32nd level demonic beast in an instant? Even the guards at the 7th or 8th level of the spiritual profound realm couldn't do it. Yun Chuzhou didn't care what they were thinking. This guy was eager to find a new prey to test the power of the 10,000-year fire marrow. Therefore, when she saw a 33rd level Windblade golden-striped tiger rushing over, she almost rushed up excitedly. Manager Lu and the 5 guards had learned from the previous experience. They felt that Yun Chuzhou was a pervert and didn't need their help at all. Therefore, they just watched the show from the back, wanting to see how Yun Chuzhou killed the demon beast. Yun Chuzhou was in a tragic situation. That was because she struck dozens of lightning bolts, but the damn 10,000-year-old fire marrow did not come out. On the contrary, the Windblade golden-spotted tiger grew stronger as it fought, forcing Yun Chuzhou to only be able to parry and not be able to fight back. Manager Lu even said to the 5 guards, "I think Miss Fangchao wants to train a little longer this time. Otherwise, she would have killed the Windblade golden-spotted tiger long ago." Manager Lu is right. I think so too. Miss Fangchao must be playing with it. When she's done playing with it, she will kill it. Yun Chuzhou almost vomited blood when she heard their discussion. Which eye of yours saw me playing with this damn Windblade golden-spotted tiger? If I continue playing with it, I won't be able to save my life, right? Seeing that the 10,000-year-old fire marrow was not reliable, Yun Chuzhou did not bother to hide it anymore. She released several piglets of spiritual power towards the Windblade golden-spotted tiger. Manager Lu and the others stumbled and almost fell to the ground. Oh God! Was this Miss Fangchao playing around? Her spiritual beast was actually a piglet. This was too incompatible with the Heavenly Thunder spiritual root, right? The Windblade golden-spotted tiger clearly did not put the spiritual piglet in its eyes. It casually used the Windblade to hit the spiritual piglet. The price of underestimating the enemy was obviously heavy. Although Yun Chuzhou used an intermediate-level physical transformation technique, the perverse nature of the spiritual piglet was beyond the understanding of the Windblade golden-spotted tiger. In addition to Yun Chuzhou's swift movement technique, an hour later, the Windblade golden-spotted tiger was covered in injuries and died. Yun Chuzhou, this fellow, was so tired that she sat on the ground and panted heavily. She cursed in her heart, "Damn it, I really can't rely on others. Even fire is unreliable. I still have to work hard to cultivate." Although this damn 10,000-year-old fire marrow was powerful, it was too unreliable. They did not know when they would help or when they would play dead. It was best not to count on it in the future. Although Manager Lu and the other 3 were very curious about the little piglet of spiritual power, they did not dare to ask too much. They felt that what they had encountered today was simply unbelievable. This Miss Fangchao was simply inhuman. Chapter 2170. Do you want to eat poisonous mushrooms that afternoon? Yun Chuzhou killed 2 more level 33 demon beasts. During dinner, Yun Chuzhou looked at Manager Lu and the other 6 people. She smiled and said, "I'm good at everything, but if someone tells others some of my secrets, they'll definitely be very unhappy. Manager Lu understands the consequences of my unhappiness, okay?" Manager Lu could not help but shiver. He immediately understood the meaning behind Yun Chuzhou's words. He immediately said, "Miss Fangchao, don't worry. I will keep my mouth shut about what happened in the psychedelic forest. I won't tell anyone. If I say anything, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." The other 5 guards were not stupid. They immediately swore the same oath as Manager Lu. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, "Sigh, I was just saying that." Look, you all took it seriously. The corners of Manager Lu and the 5 guards' eyes twitched violently. This was the guy who had said that he was taking advantage of them, right? Did they dare not take it seriously? What did you mean when you said that while holding a large kitchen knife? In the next few days, Yun Chujio spent her time at the edge of the psychedelic forest looking for demon beasts to train. Manager Lu and the 5 guards were lucky enough to witness the perverted little purple needle again. They were already numb to it. Miss Fangchao was a pervert anyway, so it was normal for any perverted thing to happen to her. Really, it was normal. On the morning of the 6th day, Manager Lu said to Yun Chujio, "Miss Fangchao, we have already stayed in the psychedelic forest for 5 days. It's time for us to leave." Yun Chujio nodded. Although she was drooling over the poisonous mushrooms in the center of the psychedelic forest, she realized that the level of the demonic beasts in the psychedelic forest was too high. There was no way for her to reach the center of the psychedelic forest, therefore, she didn't plan to take the risk and go there. She had to admit that this guy had learned his lesson from the incident in the fallen phoenix forest last time. No matter how good the things were, if the risk was too high, it was better not to take the risk. "Master, do you really want to eat those poisonous mushrooms?" Xiao Mogu, who always kept the mushrooms in the corner of the spirit beast bag, suddenly asked Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was stunned. "Of course. I heard that the poisonous mushrooms taste very delicious. I want to make some stewed meat to eat." "That's easy. I'll help Master make some. You just wait here," Xiao Mogu said confidently. Yun Chujio was skeptical. Xiao Mogu was not lying, right? How could it make poisonous mushrooms for her? Manager Lu saw that Yun Chujio said to leave, but her legs did not move. He had to force himself to ask, "Miss Fangcao, should we go outside?" "No rush, I'm a little sleepy. Let me take a nap before we leave." Yun Chujio yawned and said. The corner of Manager Liu's eyes twitched violently. "Little ancestor, even if you want to lie, can you please find a sincere excuse? It's only been 2 hours since you woke up, and you're already sleepy. Are you kidding me?" Although Manager Lu was complaining in his heart, he did not dare to say much. He could only protect Yun Chujio in the middle with the 5 guards. He watched Yun Chujio sitting cross-legged on the ground with her eyes closed to rest. After a while, everyone smelled a charming fragrance. It was a fragrance that made people's souls tremble. Manager Lu and the 5 guards looked a little distracted. They stood up and planned to follow the fragrance. Yun Chujio quickly jumped up and took out a self-made gas mask from her storage ring and gave it to them. She shouted sternly, "Put it on quickly. This fragrance is poisonous." Of course, she would not think that these poisonous mushrooms came by themselves. It was probably Xiao Mogu who hooked them up. Xiao Mogu and Guai Chao were a perfect match. One could hook up with demon beasts and the other could hook up with mushrooms. Xiao Mogu's mycelium swayed, and the poisonous mushrooms all turned around and hopped back. Manager Lu was about to talk to Yun Chujio when he heard a scream from afar. It seemed to be the group of people he met a few days ago. Manager Lu could not help but be shocked. "Miss Fangchao, it seems to be those people we met before. Let's leave quickly. Otherwise, we might get into trouble." Yun Chujio also felt that it was better to avoid trouble. After all, the poisonous mushrooms had already been obtained, so there was no need to meet them, so she nodded. "What you said makes sense. Let's go, let's leave this place quickly." Chapter 2172, Hand over the 7-colored crystal mushroom. Manager Lu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Yun Chujio agree so readily. Everyone quickly walked out of the psychedelic forest. It would take them at least 4 hours to walk out of the psychedelic forest from their current position. They did not dare to delay, afraid that there would be other branches. However, what they were afraid of came true. After walking out for about 2 hours, they heard someone shouting from behind, "Stop! Stop right now, or I'll kill you." "Miss Fong Chao, what should we do?" Manager Lu grinned. It was over, it was over. They had finally gotten into trouble. Why did those people tell them to stop? Just stop and see what they say. Yun Chuzhou wanted to run, but regardless of the number or strength, the difference between the two sides was too big, so she could not run. The people behind quickly caught up. It was indeed Lu Jinluan and the others, but they were all in a sorry state. The guards were still missing a few people, so they were probably lost. Lu Jinluan looked at Yun Chuzhou and the others with disdain. TSK, I didn't expect you guys to still be alive. You're so weak, but you weren't eaten by the demon beasts. You really got lucky. Let me ask you, those mushrooms from before rushed towards your direction like crazy. Did you guys see the rainbow crystal mushroom? Yun Chujia's lowered eyes were filled with coldness. Did she have a face that was easy to bully? All of them wanted to step on her. Lu family. Very good, Xiao He has another family in his account. Let's wait and see. Although this guy wanted to point at Lu Jinluan's nose and scold her in his heart, he didn't show it on his face at all. He said indifferently, "What is the rainbow crystal mushroom?" "We only saw a group of poisonous mushrooms. Because things were too strange, we didn't dare to stay any longer and ran out desperately." Lu Jinluan frowned. "Stop pretending. We clearly saw the rainbow crystal mushroom run away with a group of poisonous mushrooms. Why did it disappear when we arrived?" Yun Chuzhou asked in confusion, "What does the rainbow crystal mushroom look like?" The rainbow crystal mushroom is transparent and glows with 7 colors. However, it is good at disguising itself. It can disguise itself as other mushrooms. However, if you look closely, you will find a red dot on its stalk. It's really a country bumpkin. It doesn't know anything. Lu Jinluan said in disdain. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. She was sure that the rainbow crystal mushroom was already in her storage ring. Because when she picked the mushroom, she was still puzzled. This mushroom's entire body was blue. Why was there a red dot on the stalk? Of course, unless she was stupid, she wouldn't tell Lu Jinluan that she had picked the rainbow crystal mushroom. Even if she handed over the rainbow crystal mushroom now, she might still be silenced. Therefore, she shook her head firmly. "Miss, we were afraid of being poisoned just now. How would we have time to see which mushroom has a red dot on its stalk? We really didn't see that rainbow crystal mushroom." Lu Jinluan turned her head and said to the red-clothed girl, "Bingyu, I told you. These country bumpkins don't recognize the rainbow crystal mushroom at all. Moreover, they are all as timid as mice and would have been scared silly if they saw such a strange scene. It's impossible for the rainbow crystal mushroom to be in their hands." Hearing Lu Jinluan's words, Yun Chuzhou decided to change the Lu family on Xiao Hei's account from death to life imprisonment. The girl in red, Yi Bingyu, frowned and looked at Yun Chuzhou coldly. "Those mushrooms are poisonous mushrooms. Why aren't you poisoned?" Chapter 2173, Body Search. Yun Chuzhou knew that if she wasn't careful today, she might not be able to escape. Thus, she took out a gas mask from her storage ring. "We relied on this to survive for a while before we ran out." Lu Jinluan's brother curiously took the gas mask from Yun Chujia's hand and studied it for a while. He couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. Although the principle of this little thing is very simple, its design is very clever. It can last for a while without being poisoned. Lu Jinluan curiously took it over and looked at it. She curled her lips. "Only country bumpkins like them know how to use this thing. We only need to take the 100 herbs antidote pill to last for 2 hours. We don't need these broken things at all." Yun Chujio said indifferently, everyone, since you've asked all the questions, can we leave now? Lu Jinluan waved her hand impatiently. Let's go. Let's go. I reckon that you don't have the ability to pick the 7-colored crystal mushroom. Yun Chujio turned around and was about to leave when Yi Bingyu suddenly said coldly, capture them all and search them. When the guards heard Yi Bingyi's words, they immediately leaped forward and surrounded Yun Chujio and the other 3 people in the middle. They were about to search them. Wait. Miss Yi, since you have no evidence to prove that we took the rainbow crystal mushroom, why are you searching us? Moreover, this psychedelic forest is not your Yi family's territory. What right do you have to search us? Yun Chujia's face was very calm, however, the anger in her heart suddenly rose. It seemed that the Yi family was not a good thing. Yi Bingyu could not help but sneer. No wonder Jinluan said that you are a country bumpkin. In the immortal Yuan continent, strength is respected. How could there be so much logic? Not to mention that we are only searching you, even if we kill you, you will have to suffer. Yun Chujio laughed lightly and turned to look at Lu Jinluan's brother. This young master, what do you say? Lu Jinluan's brother frowned slightly and said to Yi Bingyu, Bingyu, they don't seem to be lying. It's more important to look for the rainbow crystal mushroom. Don't cause trouble. Yi Bingyu said unhappily, Brother Pin Yan, you know the importance of the rainbow crystal mushroom, so you'd rather kill 1,000 than let one go. Besides, they're just a few good-for-nothings. What trouble can there be? If you're afraid of being implicated, your Lu family's guards shouldn't do anything. Our Yi family's guards can do it themselves. Lu Pinyin obviously had a good impression of Yi Bingyu. Hearing Yi Bingyi's words, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed. He turned to Yun Chujio and said, Miss, the 7-colored crystal mushroom is very important to us. As long as you hand it over obediently or let us search you, I promise I won't kill you. Manager Lu was drenched in cold sweat. He lowered his voice and said to Yun Chujio, Miss, we didn't take the 7-colored crystal mushroom anyway. Just let them search you. You're the miss, so it's okay to let the miss search you. Yun Chujio's eyes turned cold. Manager Lu, it seems that you haven't learned my essence. There are some things that you can lower your head and compromise, but there are some things that are related to dignity. Even if you know that you're no match for them, you can't compromise. I will not let them search you. If you surrender today, then don't follow me anymore. Manager Lu and the 5 guards looked at each other. In fact, they were not Yun Chujio's people now. They were just lent to her by the 5 guards. They were conflicted. Chapter 2174, Danger in War. Manager Lu and the others knew the hidden meaning behind Yun Chujio's words. If they listened to Yun Chujio and luckily escaped this time, then Yun Chujio would definitely think of a way to recruit them as her subordinates in the future. If they submitted to the other party, then in the future, the bridge would return to the road. Although Yun Chujio did not say that she would punish them, she would not recruit them again. After Lu Jinluan heard Yun Chujio's words, she laughed hysterically. TSK, you country bumpkin, what dignity do you think you have? You really make me laugh. Do you really want to listen to her nonsense? You don't even have your life, yet you still want to be shameless. The few of you, quickly surrender and I will make the decision to let you go. If this country bumpkin resists, then only death awaits him. After hearing Lu Jinluan's words, the guards that they had brought along also let out mocking laughter. Clearly, they felt that Yun Chujio's words were not only overestimating her own abilities, but were also extremely laughable. Manager Lu and the 5 guards were originally still wavering. However, they were provoked by these mocking laughter. At the very most, they would just die. They would fight it out. Of course, their subconscious still felt that Yun Chujio, this little ancestor, had a lot of bad intentions. She might be able to escape unscathed. If that was the case, with this little ancestor's petty temper, she would definitely give them a hard time. She might even suffer a fate worse than death. Since that was the case, they might as well fight it out now. At least she would still be a man. "Miss, we will listen to you." Manager Lu and the 5 guards stood straight and protected Yun Chujio in the middle. Yun Chujio was a little surprised. She felt that these people were not her subordinates. Even if they ran away, it would not be a big deal. She did not expect them to be so loyal. Since that was the case, she would naturally not mistreat them in the future. If this guy knew that Manager Lu and the others were afraid that she would take revenge later, he probably would not think that way. When Lu Jinluan and the others heard Manager Liu's words, they were quite surprised. They didn't expect these people to be so tough. Before Lu Jinluan said anything, Yi Bingyu said viciously, "Kill them all." Lu Pinyin glanced at Yi Bingyu. Although he didn't agree with her, he didn't stop her. There was no need to offend her because of a few strangers. Yi Bingyu stared at Yun Chujio coldly. She didn't know why, but she didn't like this bitch, and she felt uneasy. Only by killing her could she get rid of this uneasiness. Yun Chujio and the others had nothing to say now. They could only fight to the death. Killing one was enough, killing 2 was enough to earn 1. Manager Lu was at the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm, and the 5-guard spiritual power was around the 8th level of the spiritual profound realm. The guards on the other side all had spiritual power above the spiritual void realm, and there were more than 20 people on the other side. Fortunately, the guards obviously felt that Yun Chujio and the others were too weak, so only 10 or so people came to fight. The others only surrounded them and did not participate in the battle. Even so, Manager Lu and the others were very uncertain. If the little ancestor did not have any trump cards, they would be finished in less than 15 minutes. A dark light flashed in Yun Chujio's eyes. The only way now was to take risks. Yun Chujio asked Manager Lu and the others to protect her in the middle. She used her sleeve to cover the voice transmission talisman and gave Enfeng a few instructions. Enfeng did not appear because he had the same plan as Yun Chujio. After receiving Yun Chujio's voice transmission talisman, he quietly approached Yi Bingyu and the others. Chapter 2175, Swear it. While Yi Bingyu was staring at the battlefield, she suddenly staggered. At this moment, an ice-cold dagger was placed on her neck. "Don't move." Lu Jinluan and the others were all focused on the battlefield. By the time they realized that Yi Bingyu was being restrained, it was already too late. Lu Pinyin could not help but be shocked. "You, who are you? Let Sister Bingyu go quickly. Back off. If you don't back off, I'll kill her." Enfeng said coldly. With a slight force of his hand, Yi Bingyi's neck was bleeding. Lu Pinyin and the others didn't dare to act rashly. They quickly said, "We can discuss this. Don't be rash. Don't be rash." Enfeng smiled coldly. "If you want me to be rash, then let them go. Also, back off. Otherwise, I'll let her go to hell with us." Lu Pinyin didn't dare to say no. He quickly ordered the guards surrounding Yun Chujio to retreat, then, he said, "Young master, let's talk things out. The hostage in your hand is the eldest daughter of the first-class Yi family. If you kill her, you won't be able to recover." Enfeng snorted. "Let's talk about it in the future. Now, all of you listen to me. Stay where you are and don't move. Once we leave the psychedelic forest, we will naturally let her go." Although Lu Pinyin wanted to tear Enfeng into pieces, Yi Bingyu was in Enfeng's hands, so he could only swallow his anger and say, "All right, we will stay where we are. If you dare to go back on your words, you and your family will die." Enfeng gave Yun Chujio a look and was about to leave. Yun Chujio curled her lips, "We can't leave like this. There is an additional condition. All of you, swear immediately that you can't mention what happened today to anyone." Moreover, you can't trace our identities. Otherwise, you'll be struck to death by lightning. If you don't say it, it'll draw a little bastard on this pretty little face." As Yun Chuzhou spoke, she took out the omnipotent kitchen knife and gestured a few times on Yi Bingjia's face. Yi Bingjia's eyes were filled with viciousness. She had never suffered such a huge loss since she was young. "Bitch, I will remember you. I will destroy your family." Lu Pinyin and the others had no choice but to swear unwillingly. Yun Chuzhou then used the kitchen knife to pat Yi Bingjia's face twice. "It's your turn. Do you choose to swear or disfigure?" Yi Bingyu only stared at Yun Chuzhou viciously. She felt that Yun Chuzhou did not dare to really make a move. Obviously, she had misjudged Yun Chuzhia's courage. Yun Chuzhou used the kitchen knife to lightly cut Yi Bingjia's face, and a hideous wound appeared on her face. Yi Bingyu cried out in pain. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, "How is it? Do you swear or not?" Yi Bingyu cared about her appearance the most. She gritted her teeth and swore, "Good. Very good. Bitch, I will remember you. I will not investigate your background, but if you bump into me in the future, I will make your life worse than death." Yun Chuzhou smiled brightly, "Little bitch, don't worry. We will meet soon. When the time comes, we will have our revenge. Let's see if you have the ability." Yi Bingyu did not understand what Yun Chuzhou meant. They would meet soon. Humph. She must be lying. She estimated that she would hide when she went back. However, she would not be able to hide forever. She did not believe that they would not meet again in the future. Yun Chuzhou saw that Yi Bingyu had sworn an oath, so she asked Feng to escort Yi Bingyu in the middle. She, Manager Lu, and the others protected her from the front and back, and quickly retreated to the periphery of the psychedelic forest. Lu Pinyin and the others naturally wouldn't really stay still, but they didn't dare to get too close and follow from afar. 2 hours later, Yun Chuzhou and the others finally left the psychedelic forest. "Now, can you let me go?" Yi Bingyu was afraid that there would be a scar on her face, so she couldn't wait to apply the medicine. Yun Chuzhou sneered. Of course, she wouldn't let her go just like that, because if she let her go now, these people would catch up with them even if they got on the flying spirit tool. Yun Chuzhou tapped on Yi Bingjia's body a few times. Yi Bingyu found that not only could she not move her body, but she couldn't even speak. Her eyes were full of fear. Yun Chuzhou took off Yi Bingjia's storage ring. "Take this storage ring as an apology to me." Yi Bingyu was so angry that she wanted to die. However, she couldn't say a word. She could only watch as Yun Chuzhou kept the storage ring. Yun Chuzhou pulled her neck and shouted to Lu Pinyin and the others in the distance, "I've already used my secret technique on this little bitch. If you move her within 6 hours, she will become a living dead person. If you don't believe me, you can try. However, don't worry. She will naturally return to normal after 6 hours." After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she summoned her flying spirit tool, and everyone boarded the flying spirit tool and left. When Lu Pinyin and the others saw that Yun Chuzhou and the others had left, they quickly rushed over. They saw Yi Bingyu lying on the ground with a ferocious bloody scar on her face. She didn't move at all as if she was dead. Lu Pinyin saw that Yi Bingjia's eyes were still moving, so he tried his nose again. When he saw that she was still alive, he was slightly relieved. However, when he thought of what Yun Chuzhou said before she left, he really didn't dare to move Yi Bingyu. If it really was a secret technique, then it would be terrible. Yi Bingjia's eyes were red. She hated Yun Chuzhou to death in her heart. As a result, she was also very dissatisfied with the Lu Shi siblings. They were a pair of trash. It was fine if they couldn't save her, but now that they were letting her lie on the ground, they should apply medicine to her wound first. What if they left a scar? Just as Yi Bingyu was thinking about it, she felt a pain in her spiritual sense. Apparently, the spiritual sense imprint on her storage ring had been wiped away. She was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood, but she couldn't move at all. After 2 hours, Lu Jinluan finally remembered about applying the medicine. She hurriedly took out the flawless muscle regeneration pill and applied it on Yi Bingyi's wound. After another 4 hours, Yi Bingyu finally returned to normal and stood up from the ground. "Bingyu, are you okay? You really scared me to death," Lu Jinluan said with a face full of fear. She didn't expect that a country bumpkin would be so evil. She almost capsized in the gutter. Yi Bingyi's expression was gloomy and cold. She didn't say anything but took out the mirror. When she saw the hideous wound on her face, she was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. "Bitch! I must kill her. Not only do I want to kill her, I also want to kill all the people in her family." Lu Jinluan was shocked by Yi Bingyi's ferocious expression. She carefully said, "Bingyu, although that stinky girl deserves to die, we have already made a poison oath. We can't tell others and can't trace their origins. How can we take revenge?" Yi Bingyi's face was gloomy. Ordinary people wouldn't come to the psychedelic forest to train, unless they happened to pass by this place. I don't think those people's spiritual power is very high, especially that country bumpkin. Maybe he went to the border of the 2 continents to apply for a temporary pass. From the looks of it, they must be from a third-class family. 2 months later, we'll send people to guard near the pass. We'll definitely be able to stop them. "Bingyu, you're too smart. What you said makes sense. Their spiritual power is so low, so they must be from a third-class family. In 2 months, whether they want to renew their pass or return to the Western continent, they will definitely go to the border between the Eastern and Western continents. At that time, we'll just wait for them," Lu Jinluan said with a fawning expression. Lu Pinyin also echoed a few words from the side. Although the Lu family was also a first-class family, it was still inferior to the Yi family. Therefore, the Lu siblings still lacked some confidence in front of Yi Bingyu. Hearing the flattery of the Lu siblings, Yi Bingyi's expression became a little better. To apply for the pass, she had to go there personally. At that time, she would definitely be able to tear that slut into pieces. On the other side, Yun Chujio, who was hated by them, was stroking her chin on the flying spirit tool, trying to think of a countermeasure. Of course, Yun Chujio could think of everything that Yi Bingyu could think of. This fellow felt that the 1 million upper-grade spirit stones were really worth it. Otherwise, 2 months later, those people might have set up an ambush at the border between the Eastern and Western continents. Yun Chujio called Manager Lu and the other 6 people in front of her. She sized them up and said, "In order to prevent you from being recognized, from today onwards, those who don't have beards will start to grow beards. Those who have beards, shave them off. Manager Lu, you should lose weight." Manager Lu wanted to cry, but he had no tears. However, compared to his life, losing weight and shaving his beards was nothing. After all, he often had to go out to discuss business, so the risk of being exposed was greater. "Miss Fong Chao, then, what about you?" Manager Lu asked with courage. "Me? I'm not afraid of being exposed. Moreover, I will take the initiative to find that little bitch to communicate with her, but not now." Yun Chujio curled her lips and said, the Yi family would go sooner or later. Moreover, even if they did not offend Yi Bingyu, the Yi family had already sent people to kill her. Manager Lu did not dare to ask any more questions. He felt that everyone had been deceived by Miss Fong Chao. She must have hidden many things from the Mo family. For example, the secret guard that suddenly appeared could not see through his cultivation. At the very least, he must have possessed spiritual energy of the spiritual void realm. This secret guard could not have been left behind by Mo Xiaoting, because Mo Xiaoting could not possibly have such an expert by his side. So, here came the problem. How could a little girl from a low-level continent have a bodyguard with high spiritual power? She definitely had someone backing her up. When we get back, don't say that we went to the psychedelic forest for a training session. Just say that I took you on a trip. Manager Lu, you have traveled a lot. Go and make up a story. We will discuss it together, Yun Chuzhou instructed. Manager Lu agreed without hesitation. Very quickly, he made up a story and everyone unified their stories. Everyone was afraid that Yi Bingyu and the others would catch up, so they drove their flying spirit tools to the fastest speed. They had originally traveled for 4 days, but in 3 days, they had arrived at Hidden Tiger City. The next day, Yun Chuzhou briefly told the Great Elder about the situation on the road. When the Great Elder heard that Yun Chuzhou had actually obtained a temporary pass for 4 months, he was also quite shocked. He thought to himself, this little girl is practically turning into a spirit. In the next few days, besides learning alchemy from the Great Elder, Yun Chuzhou was also thinking about the matters of the Yi family. Originally, she had planned to slowly take control of the Mo family and then use this as capital to enter the Yi family and find out the truth behind her mother's expulsion. However, her plan did not change quickly. Now, not only did the Yi family send people to kill her, but they had also offended Yi Bingyu. According to Yi Bingyi's personality, she would definitely not let this matter rest. What should she do? Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. The most brutal method was naturally to seek help from Di Baiming and have Di Baiming kill all the members of the Yi family. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about the Yi family's assassination and revenge. However, Yun Chuzhou felt that this method wouldn't work. Firstly, Di Baiming himself was in great danger. If he were to divert his attention to deal with the Yi family, it might bring him danger. Secondly, Di Baiming's enemies were obviously very powerful. If Di Baiming were to destroy the Yi family, the commotion wouldn't be small. It would definitely attract the attention of the other party. At that time, they would probably follow the clues and trace it back to Yun Chuzhou. There would be endless trouble in the future. Thirdly, the people of the Yi family might not be her mother's enemies. If the incident back then was caused by only a few people, then if the Yi family was exterminated, her mother would definitely blame her in the afterlife. Fourthly, the Yi family was a first-class family. They definitely had their own strengths. Who knows, they might even have some hidden power. Who knows, they might even be bitten by a snake instead of being killed. Moreover, there was a complicated relationship between large families. If the Yi family asked for help from other large families, Di Baiming might not have the confidence to win. Hence, the idea of letting Di Baiming exterminate the Yi family was not feasible. The Mo family could not be counted on. Right now, the Great Elder did not know that she had offended the Yi family and was being hunted down by the Yi family. If he knew, the Great Elder would definitely hand her over to the Yi family. The Chaos Origins sect and the Killing Origins sect were famous enough, but distant water could not quench the thirst of the near future. That was a super sect. Even if Yun Chuzhou tried to find a way to get to the location of those two sects, she might not even be able to enter the mountain gate. After all, even a first-class family like the Yi family was nothing in front of such a large ancient sect. Although she had the identity rings of Patriarch Yuan Tian and the Hunyuan Old Group, what use was that? If she did not have the strength, it would be courting death if she took it out. This was also not possible, that was also not possible. There was only one way left, and that was to enter an advanced academy or a first-class sect. This way, at least within the academy and sect, the Yi family would be more restrained. However, she didn't know if it was the season to recruit students and disciples. Yun Chuzhou pondered for a while and then came to look for Mo Fongbing. Sister Fongbing, the Zhu family's matter has temporarily come to an end. It's time for us to get down to business. I'm a person with limited information. I wonder if there are any advanced academies or first-class sects that recruit students or disciples recently. Both the Nuwa Stone Academy and the Heaven Punisher Academy are top-tier academies in the immortal Yuan continent. The instructors and elders of the first-tier sects have the same level of spiritual power. It is said that the Nuwa Stone Academy got its name from the Nuwa Stone, while the Heaven Punisher Academy got its name from the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. Wait, Sister Fongbing, you said that the Heaven Punisher Academy got its name from the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. Could it be that the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe is in the Heaven Punisher Academy? Yun Chujio was puzzled. Back then in the ancient sword tomb, the four remnant soul overlords said that the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe had appeared in the ancient sword tomb before disappearing. Why would it appear in the immortal Yuan continent again? This, I'm not too sure either. But that's how the Heaven Punisher Academy got its name. Sister Fongbing, continue. Just pretend that I didn't ask anything. Yun Chujio said with a mischievous smile. Mo Fongbing glared at her, then, she continued, although the WA Stone Academy and the Xingtian Academy are on par in strength, the WA Stone Academy prefers to recruit disciples from large families while the Xingtian Academy mostly recruits children from small families and commoners. Yun Chujio nodded. It turned out that one was a noble school while the other was a commoner school. She didn't have any prejudice against any of them. Their existence was reasonable, but their level of consumption was different. What about Heartless Sword Sect and Vast Sea Sect? Yun Chujio thought to herself. The names of these two sects were quite high and mighty, but she did not know how strong they were. Heartless Sword Sect and Vast Sea Sect are both first-class sections. Although they can't be compared to super sects like the Primordial Chaos Sect and the Murderous Origin Sect, they are still considered quite good sects in the immortal Yuan continent. As the name implies, the Heartless Sword Sect is famous for its sword. Although as the level of spiritual power increases, cultivators rely more on spiritual beasts, the Heartless Sword Sect believes that the power of using immortal swords is greater, so the sect pays more attention to sword control techniques. The Vast Sea Sect is the same as its name. The Vast Sea Sect accepts all rivers, and there are a few mountains within the sect that each have their own emphasis. I dabble in alchemy, beret formations, talismans, and other aspects. Mo Fongbing spoke with assurance. It was obvious that she had done a lot of homework in advance. She was secretly competing with Yun Chujio in her heart, wanting to take back a city. How would Yun Chujio know of Mo Fongbing's awkward thoughts? She rubbed her chin and thought for a moment. She definitely could not go to the Heartless Sword Sect. What she wanted to learn was talismans and alchemy. Going to the Heartless Sword Sect would be useless. The remaining three sounded good. Which one should she go to? Sister Fongbing, when are the recruitment times for these 4 places? Are the 4 places far apart? Mo Fongbing burst into laughter. Not only are the Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy in Tianluo City, but they are also close to each other. The two academies have been fighting for tens of thousands of years, and the recruitment time is the same every time. In a month's time, they will start to recruit students. The Vast Sea Sect and the Heartless Sword Sect are thousands of miles away from Tianluo City. It's only a few hours' journey. It's not far, but it's in the opposite direction. The Vast Sea Sect and the Heartless Sword Sect's enrollment time is about a month later than that of the WA Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy. Have you thought about which one you want to apply for? Yun Chujio said with a smile, I don't plan to go to the Heartless Sword Sect because I plan to learn alchemy. As for the Vast Sea Sect, although it's not bad, with our aptitude, we'll probably be outer sect disciples if we get in, and we might even be odd job workers. If that's the case, the time for cultivation is too short, and it's not worth it. How about this? Well, walk around the vicinity of the Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy, and then choose a suitable candidate to apply for the test. It'll naturally be best if we can pass the test. Even if we can't, we can still participate in the vast C-Sex entrance test. This is called being prepared for anything. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Mo Fongbing felt that what Yun Chujio said made sense. She nodded. Alright, then we'll do as you say. It's just that our thoughts are pretty good. Will great-grandfather agree to it? Moreover, you're not a resident of the Eastern continent yet. The first condition to apply for the exam is that you need to be a resident of the Eastern continent. That's not a problem. I'll take care of it. Just wait for me to apply for the exam. It would be great if you could collect the test contents of the Wa Stone Academy, Xingtian Academy, and the vast sea sect, Yun Chujio said nonchalantly after taking a few bites of the spirit fruit. Mo Fongbing was skeptical and urged, you have to hurry up. There's only a month left, and the journey will be delayed for a few days. In addition, we have to gather information in advance. There's not much time left. Don't worry. I'll settle it soon. I'll go see the Great Elder now. Yun Chujio took out a handkerchief to wipe her mouth and left Mo Fongbing's courtyard. When Yun Chujio saw the Great Elder, she did not hide anything. She said directly, Great Elder, I heard that the Wa Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy will be recruiting students in a month's time. This is a good opportunity. It can't be missed, and it won't come again. I want to apply. The Grand Elder was mentally prepared for this. He nodded. You can apply. I can also help you become a resident of the Eastern continent. But this time, I can only take care of you. If you can succeed in the exam, I will bring the other people from Guangshunzi into my family. Yun Chujio thought to herself that she couldn't be bothered with those people, but on the surface, she said confidently, Grand Elder, don't worry. I will do my best. Also, let Sister Fongbing go with me. The two of us can take care of each other. Besides, Sister Fongbing has a good aptitude. She will definitely pass the exam. The Great Elder naturally would not stop her. If Mo Fongbing could pass the exam, it would naturally be a great blessing. However, it was not that the younger generation of the Mo family had never tried it before. Every time, they returned in defeat. As time passed, they did not have much confidence to apply for the exam. In the evening, Yun Chujio left the Great Elder's courtyard. First, she went to Mo Fongbing's courtyard to inform her of the news. Then, she returned to the residence of the fifth house. As the sky gradually turned dark, Yun Chujio felt a little drowsy. At this moment, the sound transmission talisman began to vibrate. Yun Chujio thought that it was a sound transmission talisman sent by Di Biming. In the end, she found out that it was actually a sound transmission talisman sent by Shui Wuji. She could not help but feel surprised and happy. After sending her divine sense into it, Shui Wuji's voice came from inside. Little Sister Jiu. Naturally, Shui Wuji had no objections. The two of them agreed to meet at Tianluo City. Yun Chujio was so happy that she did not sleep the entire night. This fellow had always been heartless. From this, it could be seen how important Shui Wuji and Jin Ji were to her. 8 days later, the Great Elder called Yun Chujio into the study and handed her a jade slip. Yun Chujio opened it and saw that some of her basic information was marked on it. At the top of the slip were a few big words, residence permit for the eastern continent of the immortal Yuan continent. It was originally very complicated to apply for a residence permit. It would take at least a month, but since the Great Elder was willing to spend money, the speed was much faster. Yun Chujio naturally thanked him profusely. She swore an oath and patted her chest to guarantee that she would definitely pass the examination. The Great Elder also had high hopes for her. After all, his life depended on Yun Chujio. After Yun Chujio left, the great elder called Mo Fongbing to the study room. Fongbing, you have always been a sensible child, and you have a clear mind. This time, you and Mo Fongbing will go to the exam together. If you can't get in, then don't say anything. If you get in, you have to pay extra attention to Mo Fongbing's every move in the future. If there's anything unusual, report to me immediately, the great elder said in a deep voice. Mo Fongbing was not surprised by this. She took the voice transmission talisman that the great elder passed to her and nodded obediently in agreement. 3 days later, Yun Chujio and Mo Fongbing quietly left Fuhu City with 6 guards. When the people of the Mo family received the news, Yun Chujio and Mo Fongbing had already left a long time ago. Everyone felt that the great elder was most likely muddle-headed due to his old age. He had actually taken Mo Fongbing into his own family and even placed her under the name of the great house. Didn't that smelly girl only know a little bit of alchemy? What was so great about it? Moreover, the Wa Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy were the top academies in the eastern continent. It wasn't like the Mo family hadn't taken the test before. When had they ever succeeded? Only youths with exceptionally good looks could be admitted into such a top academy. If that trash Mo Fongbing were to go, she would simply be bringing shame upon herself. Although Mo Fongbing was much stronger than Mo Fongbing, she could still be compared to an average person. However, compared to those heaven's favorites, the gap was still very big. She would definitely return in defeat. Why would she bring herself to suffer? Mo Fangjiao was so angry that she stomped her feet. Damn Mo Fongbing! To think that she still treated her as a good sister. She actually didn't tell her about such a big matter. When she returned from her defeat, she would definitely settle the score with her. Yun Chujio and Mo Fongbing naturally did not know the reaction of the Mo family members. At this moment, the two of them were already flying high up in the sky, like a bird flying in the sky. Yun Chujio leaned on the recliner and leisurely said to Mo Fongbing, "Sister Fongbing, did the great elder ask you to spy on me?" Mo Fongbing was originally reading a book, but when she heard Yun Chujio's words, the book fell to the ground with a bang. She thought to herself, this fellow is simply not human. There is nothing that can be hidden from her. Sister Fongbing, judging from your reaction, I guess I guessed correctly. You don't have to be nervous. I'm just asking. However, there's a good saying that you don't accept the orders of the emperor when you're outside. Therefore, you should choose what you should say and what you shouldn't say. After all, I'm also a member of the Mo family. If the Mo family falls, it'll also be implicated, therefore, I will not do anything bad to the Mo family. Yun Chujio said with a smile. She believed that Mo Fongbing was a smart person and naturally understood what she meant. Mo Fongbing picked up the book with a slightly unnatural expression. As long as you don't do anything harmful to the Mo family, I naturally don't have so much time to waste on useless things. Hearing Mo Fongbing's words, Yun Chujio changed the topic. Sister Fongbing, from the information you've gathered, the Wa Stone Academy and Xingtian Academy seem to be incompatible with each other. Don't tell me that the students on both sides are going to fight for fun. Mo Fongbing's face stiffened. She didn't expect Yun Chujio's style to change so quickly. Just a moment ago, they were still discussing the matter of snitching, but now, it had shifted to the two academies fighting. Of course not. First of all, there are no martial arts in Tianluo City. Those who violate the rules will be punished by the city rules. Secondly, the two academies also have a clear rule that they are not allowed to fight with the students of the other academy in private. Moreover, if the students of the two academies want to compete, Tianluo City has a special competition stage. As long as the fees are paid, the two sides can compete. Therefore, no one will fight in private. Yun Chujio was delighted. This rule was good. Even if she was unlucky enough to meet that little bitch, Yi Bingyu, she would not dare to make a move in Tianluo City. As for the Mo family, Yi Bingyu was just a junior of the Yi family. The number of people she could command was limited. She did not dare to be so arrogant as to destroy a third-class family. What Yun Chujio did not know was that the Yi family was already in a mess. At midnight yesterday, more than half of the doors of the Yi family had been blown to smithereens. Yi Bingyi's courtyard was in an even worse state. Even the house had collapsed into ruins. Fortunately, everyone was a cultivator. Other than being shocked, they didn't suffer any injuries. On the green stone slab of Yi Bingyi's courtyard, there was a huge "kill" written in cinnabar. It was as red as blood, a shocking sight. Yi Bingyu was so scared that she was trembling. She knew that this was a warning. If the other party wanted to kill her, it would be as easy as flipping over her hand. Who was the one who warned her? Yi Bingyu suddenly thought of Yun Chujio, but she shook her head. She felt that this was impossible. That bitch's spiritual power was so low, how could she have such a strong backer? Then who did it? After the master of the Yi family found out about this, he called Yi Bingyu over and asked her sternly if she had offended anyone recently. Yi Bingyu had already sworn an oath, so naturally, she could not tell anyone about Yun Chujio. She could only grit her teeth and say that she had not offended anyone. The master of the Yi family could not get anything out of her, so he had no choice but to have people seal the news and secretly send people to investigate, but they found nothing. The Yi family had no choice but to increase their vigilance to prevent that person from coming to seek revenge again. Yi Bingyu was in a constant state of panic. After thinking about it for a long time, she decided to withdraw the men who had been lying in wait at the border between the eastern and western continents. If there was nothing to be afraid of, then there was nothing to be afraid of. If it really was that slut's backer, then it would be terrible. Yi Bingyu still felt that the Yi family wasn't too safe, so she decided to report to the WA Stone Academy ahead of time. Every time the WA Stone Academy recruited students, they would give each first-class family 2 exemption places. The Yi family's 2 exemption places were given to Yi Bingyu and her cousin, Yi Wenhong. The Lu family's free admission slots were given to Lu Pinyin and Lu Jinluan. As soon as Yi Bingyu and the other 3 entered Tianluo City, Lu Jinluan said in surprise, "Bingyu, look, isn't that stinky girl?" Yi Bingyu followed the direction of Lu Jinluan's finger and looked over. She saw a beautiful girl talking to 3 people. It was the stinky girl she met in the psychedelic forest. Yi Bingyu recalled the humiliation she had suffered that day and quickly walked in front of Yun Chujio. "Bitch! You actually dare to come to Tianluo City?" Yun Chujio was having a lively conversation with Xue Wuji and the others. When she saw Yi Bingyu and the others, she frowned. It was really a narrow road for enemies. However, she did not dare to do anything in Tianluo City. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Before Yun Chujio could say anything, Xue Wuji was already unhappy. He raised his slender phoenix eyes and said, "Who are you? How dare you scold my little sister Jiu? How dare you? Who do you think you are? How dare you?" Yi Bingyu stopped mid-sentence and her face turned red. There was actually such a good-looking man in the world. Xue Wuji did not know that he had met a rotten peach blossom. Seeing that Yi Bingyu had stopped mid-sentence, he could not help but snort coldly. "I'm warning you. If I hear you scold my little 9th sister again in the future, I won't forgive you. Little 9th sister, big brother will treat you to a meal. Don't pay attention to this lunatic." Yun Chujio was very smart. The moment she saw Yi Bingyi's appearance, she knew that she had taken a liking to Xue Wuji. She could not help but twitch her lips. Pooey! She actually dared to covet brother Wuji. How shameless! Brother Wuji left that for my Chi-Chi. Bingyu, who are they? Yi Wenhong didn't know what happened in the psychedelic forest and asked in puzzlement. Only then did Yi Bingyu come back to her senses and said perfunctorily, it's just that there were some small grudges in the past. It's nothing major. Second cousin, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Hearing Yi Bingyi's words, Yi Wenhong didn't continue to ask further. Lu Pinyin's expression didn't look too good. He had a good impression of Yi Bingyu, so he naturally observed her more carefully than others. He knew that Yi Bingyu was moved by the man in red. Yi Bingyu saw Yun Chujio and the other three enter a restaurant, and her eyes flashed. She called over a guard and ordered, keep an eye on the four of them, and then tell me what you've learned. Lu Pinyin's expression became even more unsightly when he heard Yi Bingyi's words. He had pursued her for such a long time, but there was still no progress. She actually paid so much attention to a man that she had only met once. This was really too much. Lu Jinluan was not as meticulous as Lu Pinyin. She even said to Yi Bingyu with a smile, Bingyu, I didn't expect that slut to know such a good-looking man. TSK, this is the first time I've seen a man wearing red clothes that is so charming with a hint of demonic charm. He is even more handsome than Senior Jean Lin of the WA Stone Academy. Yes, that person is indeed good-looking. I just don't know his identity. Yi Bingyu said with a slightly red face. If that person's family background was similar to hers, she would immediately ask her parents to find someone to matchmake him. Although he's good-looking, his status probably isn't much better. After all, that stinky girl is at most a member of a third-class family. Lu Jinluan curled her lips and said. What was the use of being good-looking? No status was useless. Yi Bingyu knew that Lu Jinluan's guess was very likely to be right, but she still had a glimmer of hope. Even if that person was from a second-class family and begged her parents, they would still agree. When the guards brought back the news the next morning, Yi Bingyi's heart turned cold. That person was actually just an itinerant cultivator who had ascended, not even from a third-class family. Such a person simply did not have the qualifications to marry her. Lu Jinluan had already been reprimanded by her brother. She knew that she had almost made things worse, so she quickly made up for it. She said disdainfully, Bingyu, you wouldn't have taken a fancy to that red-clothed man, would you? Don't be silly. Other than being a little good-looking, not only is that man from a poor family background, but his spiritual power is also only at the first layer of the Ling Xian realm. He is simply trash. In the immortal essence continent, strength is revered. Don't be fooled by his appearance. Yi Bingyi's burning heart instantly cooled down. Not bad, he just has a good appearance. Such a man was not worthy of her. The moment her state of mind changed, she was somewhat annoyed at her loss of self-control yesterday. She even hated Shui Wuji in her heart. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Lu Jinluan was delighted when she saw the change in Yi Bingyi's expression. She continued, Bingyu, you also saw it yesterday. That man in red kept calling her little sister. I think the two of them might be lovers. Yi Bingyi's expression became even uglier. She recalled the humiliation she had suffered in the psychedelic forest and wished she could kill Yun Chujio immediately. However, she suddenly recalled the warning she had received a few days ago. In addition to the fact that Tianluo City could not use force. She could only grit her teeth and say, I won't let that bitch off. It's not good for Tianluo City to make a move. Once they leave the city, they'll naturally get someone to capture them. Yi Bingyu planned to capture Yun Chujio and interrogate her backer. If that person was not her backer, then she would kill Yun Chujio. If he really was her backer, then she would make other plans. Bingyu, do you think they are here to apply for the Wuxia Academy or Xingtian Academy? Lu Jinluan asked suspiciously. Yi Bingyu snorted coldly, our Wuxia Academy doesn't accept beggars. They probably can't even afford the tuition fees. I think they are here to apply for the Xingtian Academy. However, with their talent, they won't be able to get in. When the time comes, I will send people to take action. Exactly. The four of them still want to apply for the Wuxia Academy and Sky Punisher Academy. They are simply dreaming. They really overestimate themselves. Lu Jinluan curled her lips and said. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou and the other three were outside the Wuxia Academy to inquire about the situation. Yun Chuzhou wanted to keep a low profile, but Xue Wuji, who was attracting the wind, was following beside her. His red clothes were fluttering in the wind, and he had an unparalleled charisma. However, he did not have a trace of feminine femininity. He was so devilish that people could not take their eyes off him. Whether it was the students of the Wuxia Academy or the people who had applied, all of them had their eyes fixed on Xue Wuji. If it was an ordinary person, they would have long felt uncomfortable under the attention of so many people. However, Xue Wuji had grown up under the gaze of so many people since he was young. Naturally, he would not take it to heart. He was very attentive in front of Yun Chuzhou. Although this fellow had already treated Yun Chuzhou as his younger sister after he had been raped by that woman, he was still a standard younger sister slave. He was extremely attentive. Hence, those women looked at Yun Chuzhou with a very unkind gaze. Their jealous gazes were like knives as they swooshed towards Yun Chuzhou's body. Yun Chuzhou could not help but curse in her heart. If she had known this would happen, she would have asked Wu Ji's head to help the gigolo. But now, not only was she unable to help, she was actually here to draw hatred. Although Yun Chuzhou was surrounded by knives, it did not prevent her from scouting for military information. The students who came in and out of the Wa Academy were all wearing expensive clothes, and all of them were full of arrogance. Yun Chuzhou did not have much opinion about this. If they had money, they could just dress up. No one could care less. It was understandable for them to be proud. Firstly, they had a superior family background, and secondly, they could be considered as a favored son of heaven if they could enter the Wa Stone Academy. The four of them went outside the Xingtian Academy to check again. Xue Wuji still attracted a lot of attention, and the unlucky Yun Chuzhou still received a lot of sharp knives. The students of Xingtian Academy were obviously dressed much worse than those of the Wa Stone Academy. Although the arrogance on their faces was not as obvious as that of the Wa Stone Academy, it was still more or less there. Yun Chuzhou was in a dilemma. The scale and situation of the two academies were roughly the same. Which one should she apply for? If the test time was not the same, she could have tried both sides. But the problem was that the test time of both academies was on the same day. What should she do? Yun Chuzhou pondered for a long time before deciding to apply for the Heaven Punisher Academy. Firstly, she had already found out that Yi Bingyu and the others had the qualifications to be exempted from the examination of the Wa Academy. In order to prevent them from making any small moves, it would be safer to enter the Heaven Punisher Academy. Secondly, this fellow had always been obsessed with the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. He felt that if he entered the Heaven Punisher Academy to study, he might be able to obtain the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. If he had the Heaven Punisher Axe, he would be able to save Meng Yanshou when he met Brother Mermaid again. Furthermore, he would also need the Heaven Punisher Axe to release the nightmare beast that was locked up in the forbidden area of the Tianyuan Academy. At the thought of this, Yun Chuzhou felt some resentment towards the 10,000-year-old fire marrow in her hand. If this 10,000-year-old fire marrow could be used normally, it could also burn the 10,000-year-old mysterious iron chain. It was a pity that this thing was still in its infancy, moreover, it was still in its infancy stage, so it was useless. Let's apply for Xingtian Academy. Yun Chuzhou said to Xue Wuji and the other two with a smile. Xue Wuji asked in puzzlement. Little sister Jiu, I think the Hua Stone Academy is not bad. Why did you choose Xingtian Academy? Jin Ji and Mo Fongbing also looked at Yun Chujiu in puzzlement, wanting to hear her reason. Most of the students of the Hua Stone Academy have a deep background. If we provoke them, it will definitely hinder our studies. Therefore, Xingtian Academy is the safer choice, Yun Chujiu said with a straight face. Mo Fongbing did not suspect him, but Xue Wuji and Jin Ji's eyes twitched. This fellow was definitely lying. She was never afraid of trouble. Why would she give up on the Hua Stone Academy for such a reason? However, they did not care about which academy they entered. In any case, they would just follow Yun Chujiu. After everyone had finished discussing, they went to the Xingtian Academy's registration site to prepare to register. Although there were still a few days before the entrance exam, there were still a lot of people who had registered. After a full 2 hours, it was finally Yun Chujiu and the others' turn. The registration was very simple. After checking the identity certificate, they would pay the registration fee and receive a test jade token. Because of Xue Wuji, many people paid attention to Yun Chujiu and the other three. Seeing their spiritual power levels, the discussion shifted from Xue Wuji's appearance to their aptitude. TSK, although that red-clothed young master is pretty good-looking, his spiritual power level is only at the first level of the spiritual profound realm. He's actually a good-looking but useless idiot. I think that red-clothed young master is still better. That little girl's spiritual power level is only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. Is she here to play? 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm? Damn, she really is at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. Who gave her the courage to actually participate in the entrance exam of the Xingtian Academy? I think that the girl in white is slightly better. However, the 2nd level of the Lingxian realm is too low. It is impossible for her to pass the exam. That's right. The lowest level we can register for is the 4th level of the spiritual profound realm. Their registration fee is wasted. Mo Fangbing's face flushed red. She wished she could find a hole to hide in. Jin Ji was slightly better than her, but her expression was a little unnatural. Only Yun Chujiu and Xue Wuji were talking and laughing as if they hadn't heard anything. Seeing this, Mo Fangbing and Jin Ji decided to throw caution to the wind. They had already signed up anyway, so they could do whatever they wanted. Yi Bingyu soon learned that Yun Chujiu and the others had signed up for the Xingtian Academy, and she sneered. How could they think that they could get into the Xingtian Academy with just the 4 of them? They really overestimated themselves. 6 days later, the entrance examinations for the Xingtian Academy and the Hua Stone Academy began at the same time. Chapter 2186, The Strange Test. Yun Chujiu and the other 3 entered Xingtian Academy with the rest of the students. Yun Chujiu looked at them curiously as she walked. Oh my, as expected of the top academy in the immortal Yuan continent. The size of the academy was at least 10 times the size of the Tian Yuan Academy. The senior students had not officially started their classes yet, so the group only met a few groups of students. Those students were curiously pointing at the participants. Xue Wuji, who was dressed in red, was the center of attention wherever he went, and he was no exception at this moment. Of course, Yun Chujiu, who was beside him, also made use of him, and the topic was still hot. Xingtian Academy's entrance exam reveals the most handsome candidate. Xingtian Academy's entrance exam reveals the most useless candidate. Even a 6th level spiritual venerable wanted to pass the entrance exam. It was simply a pipe dream. There were more than 10,000 people who participated in the entrance exam. Yun Chujiu cursed in her heart. She reckoned that Heaven Punisher was too lacking in money, so they relied on this registration fee to make a profit. Everyone arrived at Heaven Punisher's Divine Axe Square. In the middle of the square was a huge axe statue. Although it was just a statue, everyone could feel the ancient divine artifact's primeval aura and majesty and solemnity. Yun Chujio almost drooled when she saw it. This axe looked really good. It was definitely more impressive than a kitchen knife and a rolling pin. It would be perfect if she could get her hands on it. Logically speaking, if you were coveting the Xingtian divine axe, you should just secretly drool. What the hell were you doing touching it? The 10,000 people who participated in the test and the teachers of the Xingtian Academy saw a little girl squeezing out of the crowd and running to the statue of the Xingtian divine axe. She was touching it while swallowing her saliva. The teacher in charge of the test frowned and shouted angrily, "That student who participated in the test, what are you doing?" Yun Chujio said very naturally, "Teacher, I have always admired the Heaven Punisher Academy. Today, I finally entered the Heaven Punisher Academy." The moment I saw the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe, I couldn't control my excitement. However, now is the serious time to prepare for the test. I shouldn't have done this. I know I'm wrong. I'll go back now. After saying that, Yun Chujio obediently returned to her original position. P.L.S. read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. The corners of the teacher's eyes twitched. Alright, his lines were all finished by that little girl. However, it wasn't a bad thing for this little girl to yearn for the Xingtian Academy. It was just a pity that her spiritual power was too low. Chapter 2187 was her, "Damn it. Who dares to plot against me? Come out. If you come out obediently and let me go, I'll spare you. Otherwise, I'll let you die without a complete corpse. If you have the ability to come out and fight me one-on-one, what kind of hero are you hiding? Are you breathing or not? If you don't come out now, I won't be polite. If you don't come out now, I will really not be polite. I will bite my tongue and commit suicide. I will let you go for nothing." Xue Wuji was so angry that he started cursing. Unfortunately, his mouth was dry and he did not see anyone else appear. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Fuck, if he found out who did it, he would definitely cut him into 1,000 pieces. Just as Xue Wuji was fuming with anger, the door creaked open and a woman walked in. When Xue Wuji saw the woman's face, his heart immediately pounded wildly. It was her. It's actually you, this shameless woman. How dare you show up?" Xue Wuji's face flushed red. It was unknown whether he was angry or embarrassed. The woman walked to the bed and looked down at Xue Wuji. She said coldly, "Shameless. You know clearly what happened last time. How dare you criticize me?" Xue Wuji tried to defend himself with a guilty conscience. Even if I was in the wrong at the beginning, but later, you, Xue Wuji remembered what happened last time, and his face turned even redder. He was usually eloquent, so he couldn't even speak clearly. You didn't say anything for a long time." The woman sneered, "You are so interesting. No matter what happens later, I'm still a victim. Where do you get the face to question me?" "Huh?" Xue Wuji's ears and neck turned red instantly. He was like a boiled shrimp as he roared angrily out of embarrassment. P.L.S. read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. "Let's not talk about what happened last time. Why did you tie me up here? Let me go now. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson." The woman used her hand to support the edge of the bed. A few strands of long hair brushed against Xue Wuji's face, and Xue Wuji's face turned even redder. The woman's clear and cold eyes were filled with ridicule. "I think you're quite good-looking." Xue Wuji felt that he had never been so embarrassed in his life. He had actually been molested by a woman several times. He really could not face anyone. Xue Wuji finally managed to squeeze out a sentence with much difficulty. You you brought me back. What exactly are you doing? The woman raised her eyebrows. Why? To borrow something from you, of course. Although you are a little stupid, you look pretty good. Shui Wuji thought of something and immediately felt embarrassed and angry. He was still looking forward to it shamelessly, but he scolded, shameless. I won't listen to you. Even if you get my heart, you can't get my heart. The woman was stunned for a moment, then she laughed. Even the coldness in her eyes faded a little. What do I want your heart for? I'm only interested in your appearance. Shui Wuji was stunned, then his heart was filled with anger. This anger was even stronger than when he had been teased by the woman. His eyes were red as he said, What do you take me for? Give up on this idea. I'll bite my tongue and commit suicide right now. Shui Wuji was not just saying that. He had been looking forward to it, but now he felt a little sad. Was she only interested in his looks and treated him as a tool for reproduction? Why was her heart so ruthless? Just as Shui Wuji was about to bite his tongue and kill himself, the woman smiled at him. She looked less cold and more enchanting. Shui Wuji's mind went blank. He was not thinking about committing suicide. Chapter 2188 fell asleep at this moment. In the Divine Axe Square, some of the participants were smiling, while others were in pain. Of course, there were also people like Shui Wuji who had an emotional expression on their faces. In short, they were all strange creatures. The teachers in charge of the test were very calm about the reactions of the crowd. The name of this illusory array was called the 7 Emotions and 6 Desires Array. Anyone would have 7 emotions and 6 desires, so everyone would be affected, it was just that there was a time for them to wake up sooner or later. If there were no clear-headed people after 2 hours, they would only be eliminated. There were too many distracting thoughts, so they wouldn't go too far on the path of cultivation. Xingtian Academy wouldn't recruit such students. The teachers felt that it would take at least an hour for someone to wake up, so they gathered in groups of 2 or 3 and discussed in low voices. They were discussing whether there were good seedlings among the students who had applied for the exam. The chief teacher in charge of the examination had the surname Pang. Naturally, it was not appropriate for him to whisper to the others. Thus, he kept scanning the crowd. Seeing the various expressions on everyone's faces, he frowned slightly. This batch of students seemed to be a lot more impetuous than the previous batch. Their aptitude might not be as good as that of the WA Stone Academy. Teacher Pang was suddenly stunned. What the hell was that person looking around? He saw a little girl standing out from the crowd. Her big eyes were darting around. She looked at the man in red on her left and the woman in white on her right. From time to time, she would stretch her neck and look at the woman in yellow beside her. After a while, perhaps she was too bored, so she closed her eyes and slowly fell asleep. Asleep? Asleep. Teacher Pang was so angry that he was twitching. Did this little girl really take the entrance exam seriously? First, she started to carelessly touch the statue of the heaven-executing divine axe. Now, even though she had woken up from the illusion early in the morning, she did not immediately stand up to signal for her to go to sleep. This was simply outrageous. Teacher Pang was so angry that he did not care about his identity anymore. He directly walked to Yun Chujia's side and said, "Candidate, if you want to sleep, go out and sleep." Yun Chujio opened her eyes and looked at Teacher Pang in a daze. Then, she closed her eyes again. She was still mumbling softly, "This dream is too real. I can't believe that even the teacher who was in charge of the test could dream about it. Speaking of which, that chief teacher who was in charge of the test is really the best teacher I've ever met. Only now do I understand what it means to be a person of the world and to be a teacher. I must do my best to enter Xingtian Academy so that I can hear his teachings." Teacher Pang was stunned. Could it be that this little girl was also in an illusion, but her performance was different from others? Pls read on MYB0's novel com. Teacher Pang looked at Yun Chujio again. She had her eyes closed, and the expression on her face changed from joy to sorrow. At this moment, she was no different from the others. Teacher Pang shook his head, turned around, and left. He would never admit that he felt that this little girl's words were nice, so he let her off. Yun Chujio secretly opened her eyes a little. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw that Teacher Pang had left. This fellow was not a fool. She had carelessly touched the statue before, and now she was acting like this. Naturally, she had her own plans. The spiritual power level that she displayed at the moment was too low. If she did not use some unconventional methods, how could anyone notice her? Therefore, this fellow was testing Teacher Pang's bottom line bit by bit. Of course, she knew that Teacher Pang had already seen through her act. But since he didn't expose her, it meant that at least he didn't hate her. There was no harm in brushing his face first. Chapter 2189, Evildoer. An hour later, people gradually woke up and began to raise their hands. The teacher in charge let the examinees who had woken up walk to the other side of the square. Yun Chujio saw that there were almost 100 people who had woken up, so she secretly pinched Shui Wuji's arm. Shui Wuji was suffering from the torture of a pervert. After he was suddenly woken up by the pain, he looked around in a daze. He did not know whether he was disappointed or feeling something else. In short, he felt a little dejected. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. Wu Ji must be hiding something from her. What exactly happened? Now was not the time to ask more questions. Yun Chujio used the same method to wake up Mo Fongbing. Then, she gave Mo Fongbing a subtle wink. Mo Fongbing understood and quietly woke up Jin Ji, who was next to her. Yun Chujio was afraid of being discovered, so she deliberately gave the three of them a wink. After a period of time, the four of them raised their hands to signal, and then stood in the designated area. Teacher Pang's eyes flashed. The other teachers did not see it, but he had been paying attention to Yun Chujio, so he naturally saw her small movements clearly. However, he did not say anything. Although Yun Chujio had contributed to his flattery, more importantly, he felt that the little girl was a little strange. She had actually broken through the illusion in such a short time. Was it because her mind was extremely pure, or was there another reason behind it? Let's wait and see. 2 hours later, out of the tens of thousands of candidates, only about 5,000 people were conscious and stood in the designated area. The remaining people were still immersed in the illusion. Teacher Pang waved his hand, and the teachers in charge removed the illusion. Only then did the examinees wake up. Although they were unwilling, the result was already decided. They could only leave dejectedly. Although the examinees who passed were very excited, they were filled with worry about the second round of the test. This elimination rate was too shocking. They didn't know if they could pass the second round of the test. Teacher Pang glanced at the crowd. The examinees who were still whispering suddenly became silent. Although they were afraid of upsetting the teacher in charge, the more important reason was that Teacher Pang used his pressure. His spiritual power was much higher than theirs. The examinees' legs were a little weak, not to mention gossiping. Teacher Pang's gaze fell on Yun Chujio again. He saw the little girl looking at him with a smile and even winking at him. Pls read on MYB0's novel com. Teacher Pang. Teacher Pang had a premonition in his heart that Xingtian Academy would most likely recruit a monster. He shook his head again. He must have been too busy recently, so his brain was not enough. Putting everything else aside, that little girl was only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. How could she pass all the tests? Teacher Pang calmed himself down, then he said in a deep voice, "The second round of the test will be conducted in groups of 4. After the group is complete, the team leader will go to the teacher to receive the jade token that records the results. It'll give you 15 minutes. If the group doesn't succeed in the end, the teacher will designate a group. After everyone heard Teacher Pang's words, they began to form a team freely. Yun Chujio and the other three were naturally in a team. There was no need to choose a team leader, so Team Leader Little 9 officially went online. Team Leader Little 9 hopped back with a jade token. On it was a number that was fated to be with her, 250. Yun Chujio touched her chin and said to Xue Wuji and the other two, "What do you think will happen if there are only 1 or 2 people left at the end? Will it be empty? If that's the case, you can find someone to replace me. I'll take my turn." Xue Wuji and the other two. Chapter 2190, the second round of the test. Xue Wuji and the other two naturally knew that Yun Chujio was joking. Moreover, even if there were really only a few people left, they would not really let them take the next round. There must be other ways to remedy the situation. For example, they would choose 2 lucky candidates from the eliminated candidates to fill the gaps. In short, they would not really let them take the next round. Yun Chujio was originally joking, but she did not expect a man beside her to say with disdain, "TSK, trash is trash." To think that they would actually think that a pie would fall from the sky. They really don't know shame. Yun Chujio turned around and saw that the man who spoke had a pair of Jiao Shaoyan. Her heart moved. This person was somewhat similar to that Zhu Jinghu. Could it be that they were relatives? When that Jiao Shaoyan saw Yun Chujio looking at him, not only did he not feel embarrassed, he said even louder, "What are you looking at?" "I'm talking about you. A 6th level spiritual venerable wants to enter Xingtian Academy. You really overestimate yourself." The other 3 people who were in the same group as Jiao Shaoyan also echoed, "That's right. I don't know what kind of dog shit luck you got to actually pass the first round of the test. But this luck won't last forever. You guys just wait to be beaten back to your original form in this round." Yun Chujio heard the discussion of the 4 people and only glanced at them indifferently. She did not refute. The 4 people felt that Yun Chujio was afraid of them and became even more unrestrained. Some people around them also joined in the jeering. Yun Chujio still did not say anything. She just glanced at them. Jin Ji, who was standing at the side, lit a candle in her heart for those people. "You idiots, keep showing off. The black-hearted little 9 must have recorded all of you in the black book. It was fine if you didn't get into the Sky Punisher Academy, but if you did, you would be tortured." Jin Ji was shocked when she thought of this. Why would they be tortured if they got into the Sky Punisher Academy? Well, she already felt that they would definitely be able to enter the Sky Punisher Academy. After all, with the perverted leader Little 9 leading them, it would be a piece of cake for them to enter the Sky Punisher Academy. Yun Chujio didn't know that Jin Ji's little fan sister was cursing in her heart. When she saw that Xue Wuji was still in a daze, she lowered her voice and asked, "Brother Wuji, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about a beauty?" Xue Wuji was suddenly shocked. Nonsense. There is no beauty. Brother, I am thinking about the content of the second test. Brother Wuji, have you thought about it? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Chapter 2191, Team Leader Little 9 was online when the examinees heard Teacher Pang's words. They immediately began to discuss animatedly, "Heavens, only 600 teams are able to pass. Doesn't that mean that the elimination rate is 50%? It's really too brutal." However, the stronger teams were fine. They would just use the weakest as a hostage while the other 3 fought with all their might. "I reckon that the examinee who is the hostage won't be in danger of losing his life. If you are brave enough, just don't activate the jade token. That makes sense. If some groups are weak, just wait to be eliminated. I reckon that the other groups have already ended. They won't even be able to pass half of the journey. The one who spoke was Jiao Shaoyan. As he spoke, he looked at Yun Chuzhou and the other three with disdain. Yun Chuzhou treated him like a mad dog. If he was willing to bark, he would bark. She couldn't be bothered with him. This fellow's eyes sparkled. He felt that Xingtian Academy was quite interesting. This test was quite ingenious. The most important question now was naturally to choose the candidate to be the hostage. Before Xue Wuji and the other two could speak, this fellow said, "My spiritual power is the weakest. I'll be the hostage." Mo Fongbing didn't think too much about it, because she really thought that Yun Chujia's spiritual power was the weakest. The corners of Xue Wuji and Jin Ji's eyes twitched. They didn't believe that Yun Chuzhou was really only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm, right? However, they also knew that this fellow had many ideas. Since she had proposed to be the hostage, then they would listen to her arrangements. The examinees who were chosen to be the hostage were all brought into an array formation by the teacher. A white light flashed, and the examinees disappeared from their original spots. Following that, the remaining examinees who were responsible for rescuing the examinees were also transported into the formation and disappeared from their original spots. The originally bustling Divine Axe Plaza was suddenly left with only the instructors who were responsible for testing. Right at this moment, Teacher Pang summoned a shadow stone from his storage ring. After landing on the ground, it actually turned into an incomparably huge screen. On it was a huge topographic map with flashing blue and red dots on it. The red dots were the hostages of the examinees who were trapped in the demon beast's nest. The blue dots were the examinees who were responsible for rescuing them. The huge topographic map was divided into thousands of parts. Each group occupied a small piece. It was very simple and clear. One only needed to observe the position of the blue dots to judge the progress of each group. PLs read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. As the designers of the assessment content, the instructors could naturally roughly judge the time taken by the examinees. It would take at least a day and a night to get the hostages out. After all, there were many demon beasts and obstacles set up for them on the way. Thus, the instructors sat on the ground and discussed as they looked at the changes on the map. This round of assessment is about hard power. I think the first group, the 8th group, and the 10th group are likely to be in the top 3. The 3 groups you mentioned are indeed not bad, but I think the 50 and 78 groups are also not bad. It's hard to say which group will get first place, but I know that one group will definitely be eliminated in this round. That group number 250, although the weakest one has become a hostage, the remaining 3 are still the weakest. They will definitely be eliminated. All the teachers nodded in agreement. They didn't know if those 4 examinees were joking or not, but they actually applied for the Sky Punisher Academy with such weak spiritual power. They were really looking for a beating. Teacher Pang heard their discussion. Although he felt that what they said made sense, when he thought of the little girl's quick-witted eyes, he vaguely felt that they might really be able to create a miracle. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou was in the nest of a demon beast. She suddenly thought of a problem. They had already been transported to the nest of a demon beast. Wouldn't the demon beast eat the hostage? Where could she wait for her companions to come to her rescue? Chapter 2192, Food delivered at the slightest disagreement. Yun Chujia's nest was a stone cave. There were some demon beast bones and fur on the ground, and the smell was very unpleasant. This cave was very big, so it could be judged that the demon beast in this nest must be very big. When Yun Chuzhou was looking around, she heard a few earth-shaking beast roars, and a huge demon beast walked in from outside the cave. Yun Chujio had spent a lot of time and effort on her knowledge these days. She recognized that it was a level 40 pioneer saber-tooth elephant. When the pioneer saber-tooth elephant saw Yun Chujio, it was obviously stunned. It wondered why it was given such a weak little human girl. 6th level spiritual venerable. Was she playing? After the pioneer saber-tooth elephant was shocked, it began to roar fiercely. Its sharp 2 long teeth flickered with a cold light as it approached Yun Chujio step by step. Yun Chujio's heart is like a beeping dog. Oh, shit. A 40-step demon beast. No wonder that if someone automatically activated the jade plate even eliminated, I guess the timid people scared to death. The 40th level demon beast is equivalent to the human monk's spiritual void 6 to 7 levels. However, this guy's heart estimated that these monsters are just to scare people, not really eat people. If the hostages die, also test the wool. After this fellow figured it out, he said with a smile, Lord Elephant, let's have a frank talk. I guess your task is to look at me. It would be even better if you can scare me into activating the jade token, right? The pioneer saber-tooth elephant originally thought that it would faint or activate the jade token after a few roars. It didn't expect that it could actually talk and laugh with it. It was a little strange. Yun Chujio saw that the pioneer saber-toothed elephant did not have any reaction. Then, she continued, I have always been bold since I was young, so don't scare me. If you shout too loudly, the cave might collapse. Are you hungry? I have demon beast meat here for you to try. The pioneer saber-toothed elephant did not expect Yun Chujio's style to change so quickly. She gave it food without saying anything. However, it thought that since the little girl had guessed it, it was probably useless to scare her. It was not bad to eat something. P.L.S. read on MYB Zero's novel com. Yun Chujio saw that the pioneer saber-tooth elephant did not have any objections, so she took out a wind blade golden spotted tiger's corpse from her storage ring and threw it to it. The pioneer saber-tooth elephant sniffed and saw that there was nothing unusual, so it began to eat. Yun Chujio watched from the side. She had planned to poison it, but she felt that it was not very appropriate. Whether it could succeed or not was another matter. The main thing was that the pioneer saber-tooth elephant was also in a sense protecting the hostages. If it died, other demon beasts might attack the hostages, and that would not be worth it. Yun Chujio and the pioneer saber-tooth elephant were getting along very well, but that did not mean that the other examinees were getting along well. The examinees who were taken hostage one after another could not withstand the great fear and were sent to the Divine Axe Square with their jade tokens activated. Once the examinees who were taken hostage were sent out, the examinees in the same group would also be sent out. Naturally, they could not help but complain to each other. At this moment, 6 hours had passed since the test. The position of the blue dot on the topographic map kept changing. Teacher Pang glanced at the topographic map of group 250 and then looked at the topographic maps of the other groups. He could not help but shake his head. It seemed that strength was the true principle. The blue dot of group 250 was already far behind the other groups. It was probably because the spiritual power of the other groups was too low, so their speed was slowed down. If this continued, they would definitely be eliminated. Chapter 2193, A miracle had happened. Another 4 hours had passed, and the sky had already begun to darken. On the Divine Axe Square, it was as bright as day. It turned out that it was Teacher Pang who had taken out several huge luminous pearls to illuminate the place. These luminous pearls were much larger than the ones in Yun Chujio's hands, and their brightness was very astonishing. Some of the teams on the topographic map had already walked half the distance. In another 6 hours, they would probably reach the demon beast lair where the hostages were. While everyone was discussing the top few, they naturally couldn't help but ridicule the team that was at the back. TSK, how is it? I told you, this 250 team will definitely be eliminated. It has already been 10 hours, yet they haven't even completed 1/5 of the journey. With their speed, let alone 1 day and 1 night, even 3 days and 3 nights wouldn't be enough to save them. Yeah, their group strength is too weak. Unless there is a miracle, they will be able to save the hostages. While everyone was discussing, a slightly plump teacher pointed at the topographic map and cried out, "Miracle, a miracle has happened." A teacher beside him curled his lips. "Teacher Wen, what nonsense are you talking about? What miracle?" Teacher Wen was clearly so excited that he was incoherent. He simply ran to the front of the topographic map and jumped with all his might. He pointed at one of the topographic maps and said, "Look at it yourselves." Everyone was first amused by Teacher Wen's funny actions and burst into laughter. Then, when they saw the topographic map that he was pointing at, they were all dumbfounded. On the topographic map that marked Group 250, 3 blue dots were moving slowly. The strange thing was that the red dot was rapidly moving towards the location of the blue dot. This is impossible. There must be a problem with the topographic map. The one guarding the hostage is a level 40 demonic beast, and that black fragrant grass is only at the 6th level of the Supreme Being realm. How could she have escaped? Else read on MYB0's Nov LCOM, that's right. Even if there really was an accident and she managed to escape, she would have encountered demonic beasts along the way. How could she run so fast? This doesn't make sense. Teacher Pang, show us the specific image. The topographic map must be wrong. Teacher Pang also frowned. Could there really be a problem with the topographic map? After he formed a seal with his hands, the topographic map number 250 began to be enlarged. The real situation was displayed on the big screen. In the valley, a huge pioneer saber-tooth elephant was running forward. On its back sat a little girl. She was chewing on a spirit fruit in her hand. She looked very relaxed. The pioneer saber-toothed elephant was the highest-level demon beast in the setup. The demon beasts on the road had long retreated. How would they dare to come out to stop it? Therefore, one person and one elephant could pass through without any obstruction. At this moment, a thought flashed through the minds of the teachers, that pioneer saber-toothed elephant has gone mad. The scene was silent for a full quarter of an hour. A teacher shouted, "Teacher Pang, bring up the scene in the cave and see what happened. This is too unbelievable." Everyone chimed in. They were too curious. What exactly happened? The little girl who was at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm actually tamed a level 40 demon beast. This was simply unbelievable. Teacher Pang was also very curious, so he formed a seal with his hands again. The scene quickly moved back and stopped at the moment when Yun Chujio fell into the demon beast's nest. Chapter 2194 was really ambitious when the teachers saw that Yun Chujio was actually chatting and laughing with the pioneer saber-tooth elephant. The corners of their mouths twitched. This little girl was really bold. However, this little girl was also smart. She guessed that the pioneer saber-tooth elephant would not really hurt her. When everyone saw that Yun Chujio had fed the pioneer saber-tooth elephant the corpse of a wind-blade golden-spotted tiger, they were all dumbfounded. Was this little girl not afraid that the fresh blood would trigger the fierce nature of the pioneer saber-tooth elephant? However, it was obvious that everyone was overthinking. After the pioneer saber-tooth elephant finished eating the wind-blade golden-spotted tiger, it laid on the ground lazily and closed its eyes to sleep. It was not worried that Yun Chujio would dare to escape, unless the little girl did not want to live anymore. If she tried to escape, its long trunk would immediately wrap her up. Seeing that the pioneer saber-tooth elephant was sleeping, Yun Chujio took out a reclining chair and sat on it. She took out a script and read it leisurely. The teachers were so angry that they gritted their teeth. Are you participating in the test? Can you focus a little? You actually have the heart to read the script? You're really ambitious. Fortunately, the picture was not particularly clear. Otherwise, when everyone saw the words on the cover of Yun Chujia's script, they would probably be even more angry and vomit blood. After a while, everyone saw that the little girl seemed to be tired from watching and actually fell asleep without a care in the world. Teacher Pang sped up the scene. The little girl stretched herself and stood up from the recliner. Her eyes rolled around. She said to the pioneer saber-tooth elephant, "Sir Elephant, are you done sleeping? Let's go out for a walk. It's boring to stay in this nest." The pioneer saber-tooth elephant opened its eyes impatiently and roared. It was obviously extremely impatient. If an ordinary person saw this, they would definitely be obedient. Otherwise, it would be bad if they angered the pioneer saber-tooth elephant. However, Yun Chujio, this fellow, had never taken the ordinary path. She continued to say with a smile, "Lord Elephant, are you interested in medicinal pills?" The pioneer saber-tooth elephant's huge eyeballs suddenly lit up and it let out a low roar. Yun Chujio knew that it was interested. Hence, she continued to say, "Lord Elephant, to be honest, my elder is good at refining pills. When I came this time, he gave me a lot of pills. Some of them can absorb spiritual energy quickly, and some can treat injuries. I'll give you 2 bottles. Pls read on MYB0s Nov LCOM." The pioneer saber-tooth elephant's long trunk stretched forward. Its purpose was very clear. It wanted the pills. Yun Chujio took out 2 bottles of pills with a smile. After opening the cork, she placed the pills in her palm and let the pioneer saber-tooth elephant sniff them. Only then did she fix the bottle cap again and give the 2 bottles of pills to the pioneer saber-tooth elephant. The pioneer saber-tooth elephant excitedly put the 2 bottles of pills into its portable space and called Yun Chujio twice in a low voice. Apparently, it was very satisfied. "Lord Elephant, it seems that you still like pills. Actually, I have about 10 bottles of these pills here, but they belong to my companions. As long as they agree, I can give them to you. But I can't contact them now, so I can only wait for them to come here," Yun Chujio said with a troubled look. The pioneer saber-tooth elephant's eyes revealed a pleasantly surprised light. At this time, Yun Chujio continued to say, "However, as you can see, Lord Elephant, my spiritual power is very weak. My companions are only slightly stronger than me. I reckon that after the test is over, they won't be able to reach here." Chapter 2195 could be played like this. When the pioneer saber-tooth elephant heard Yun Chujio's words, it laid on the ground dejectedly. The other 3 weaklings could not reach here, so naturally, they could not give the pills to it. Wasn't this the same as not saying anything? After a while, Yun Chujio clapped her hands. "Lord Elephant, I've thought of a good idea. They can't come over, so we can go and look for them. Take me with you, we can set off now. With your speed, I believe we can find them in less than 4 hours. At that time, I will ask them to give you all these pills." The pioneer saber-tooth elephant stood up and was about to walk out of the cave, but it returned to its original position dejectedly. Yun Chujio was very smart. She immediately guessed the reason. "Lord Elephant, are you afraid that taking me to find them would violate the rules?" The pioneer saber-tooth elephant growled in a low voice, obviously admitting to it. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Sir Elephant, you are worrying too much. Think about it, the rules only allow you to scare me and keep an eye on me. Have you ever been forbidden from leaving the cave? When we go out later, I will always be on your back. This way, we will never be separated. This way, it doesn't violate the rules." When the pioneer saber-tooth elephant heard Yun Chujio's words, a trace of confusion flashed across its eyes. It seemed that what the little girl said made sense. As long as she and I weren't separated, it shouldn't be considered against the rules. Yun Chujio saw that the pioneer saber-tooth elephant was a little tempted. She decided to add fuel to the fire. Lord Elephant, this pill isn't like the herbs on the ground that can be found at any time. This is a rare opportunity, you have to seize it. Think about it, if you don't want the pill that can absorb spiritual energy quickly, then how rare is the pill that can treat injuries? After Yun Chujio made some noise, the pioneer saber-tooth elephant finally made up its mind. Since it did not violate the rules, it could still get a lot of pills, so why not? Fuck. Therefore, Yun Chujio climbed up the elephant's back along its long trunk, sat on it, and left the cave happily. The pioneer saber-toothed elephant was very familiar with the terrain here, so it brought Yun Chujio and ran all the way. After seeing what had happened, the teachers looked at each other in confusion. How could they play like this? That pioneer saber-toothed elephant was really strong and simple-minded. How could it be fooled like this? Not only did it let the little girl go, but it also carried her to find its companions. If that was the case, why would the other teams compete? No matter how powerful they would not be faster than Team 250. The first place would belong to them. A teacher asked with uncertainty, did that Mo Fangchao violate the rules of the test by doing so? P.Else read on MYB0's novel com, forget it. Which rule did she violate? Did we say that examinees are not allowed to talk to demon beasts? Did we say that we are not allowed to bribe demon beasts with pills? Did we say that examinees who are hostages are not allowed to leave the cave? Everyone shook their heads like rattledrums. Indeed, none of these were mentioned. That Mo Fangchao was clearly trying to exploit the loophole in the test rules, but there was nothing wrong with it. At this moment, on the screen, the pioneer saber-tooth elephant carried Yun Chujio on its back and had already found Shui Wuji and the other two without any obstruction. Shui Wuji and the other two were fighting with a level 33 giant-toothed black-spotted pig when they saw their team leader Little Nine riding a huge demonic beast over. The giant-toothed black-spotted boar was so frightened by the pioneering saber-tooth elephant's cry that it almost stopped eating. It didn't care about fighting with Shui Wuji and the other two and ran away without a trace. This guy's strategy was to rope in as many as possible. Even if he could not rope them in, it was still good to get to know them. When everyone was almost done eating, Yun Chujio asked Shui Wuji and the other two to clean up. Then, she tactfully went to the corner to meditate, not affecting the rest of the teachers. Teacher Pang could not help but secretly nod his head. No matter how good this little girl's spiritual power was, her eyesight was really rare. Teacher Pang meditated and rested for a while, but because he was the chief teacher, he opened his eyes in less than 4 hours and looked at the big screen. The fastest groups were now less than 4 hours away from the demon beast nest. It was estimated that there would be examinees being sent out one after another after dawn. Teacher Pang subconsciously glanced at the corner where Yun Chujio and the other three were. There were only 3 people left and the little girl was nowhere to be seen. Teacher Pang was shocked and looked around. When he saw Yun Chujio, he was so angry that he was amused. He saw the little girl drooling at the night pearls around the square. However, it seemed that she was a thief with no guts. She was just touching them reluctantly. Chapter 2197, Do You Want the Luminous Pearl? Teacher Pang frowned and walked up to Yun Chujio. When he heard Yun Chujio muttering, he was so angry that he was amused. TSK, this big pearl looks really rare. It would be great if it were all mine. Sigh, a gentleman likes to take money in the right way. You can't steal it or snatch it. Let's have a good time. It's good to touch it. Teacher Pang coughed twice. Yun Chujio turned around and looked at Teacher Pang. She laughed dryly. Teacher Pang, why aren't you resting? You like these night pearls very much? Teacher Pang asked instead of answering. Yun Chujia's eyes were shining. She kept nodding. Teacher Pang, to be honest, I also have some night pearls in my hands, but they are much smaller than these. These big ones are still pleasing to the eye. If you want these night luminescent pearls, then you should first enter the Xingtian Academy. Every test and assessment will have a corresponding reward. If you manage to enter, I can make the decision to use 3 night luminescent pearls as the reward for the first place in the first test. The reason why Teacher Pang said this was mostly because he was joking. He felt that even if Yun Chujio really had the luck to enter the Xingtian Academy, it would still be impossible for her to obtain the first place in the first test. However, Yun Chujio's eyes were as bright as stars. She said excitedly, "Are you serious? But 3 is too little. How about 5? Teacher Pang's face stiffened. Did this little girl misunderstand the main point? Wasn't the main point now whether she could enter the Sky Punisher Academy? Why was his attention on 3 or 5? Teacher Pang coughed dryly. Let's wait until you pass the entrance exam. Let me ask you, how long did it take you to get rid of the illusion? Yun Chujio thought that as long as the black pearl was there, it would be able to see through the illusion in a minute. Naturally, this fellow would not tell the truth. She smiled and said, I didn't pay too much attention. It seemed like less than an hour. Teacher Pang glared at her. He knew that she was not telling the truth, but he could not continue to interrogate her. Coincidentally, another teacher was looking for him for something, so he turned around and left. Yun Chujio pouted. Stingy. P.L.'s read on MYB0's novel COM. This guy squatted down and continued to drool at the luminous pearl. He wished that he could keep it in his storage ring immediately. In fact, although the luminous pearl was expensive, this guy should be a little rich lady now. He should not be so greedy. However, this guy had a special liking for the luminous pearl in his previous life. Otherwise, he would not have pried the luminous pearl off the roof of Shui Wuji's house. As the sky gradually brightened, groups were sent out one after another. When they saw Yun Chujio and the other 3 people in the square, they were all surprised and confused. Could it be that this useless group came out earlier than them? Jiao Shaoan's group was ranked 9th. He also noticed Yun Chujio and the others. He thought that Yun Chujio and the others had been eliminated and shamelessly stayed here. Therefore, he walked up to Yun Chujio and curled his lips. You have all been eliminated. Why aren't you leaving? What are you doing here? Are you trying to extort something to leave? Leave quickly. I've never seen such a shameless person. Hey! Didn't you hear what I said to you? Are you deaf? Yun Chujio looked at the night pearl for half the night. Teacher Pang had put away the night pearl at dawn, so this guy was catching up on sleep. Initially, she thought that Jiao Shaoyan would leave after saying a few words. She did not expect him to be insatiable. He was always grumpy when he woke up, so he suddenly opened his eyes. Chapter 2198, Competitors randomly assigned. Jiao Shaoyan saw Yun Chujio's deep and dark eyes, emitting a chilling light, and could not help but take a few steps back. Before Jiao Shaoyan could react, he felt a chill on his neck, and Yun Chujio's cold voice came from behind him, If you provoke me again, I will make your head move. If you don't believe me, you can try. Jiao Shaoyan's legs were slightly trembling, but he still said in a threatening manner, You dare. If you hurt me, you will never be able to enter the Xingtian Academy. Yun Chujio smiled coldly, If I can't enter the Xingtian Academy and your life is compared, which do you think is more important? Get lost. Yun Chuzhou put away her kitchen knife and kicked Jiao Shaoyan. Jiao Shaoyan was kicked more than 30 feet away and caught by his companion. At least he didn't fall down and embarrass himself. Jiao Shaoyan's face turned green and white. He wanted to find Yun Chuzhou to settle the score again, but his companion stopped him. Jing Tai, forget it. If the matter gets out of hand, you will be punished too. We will find a chance to deal with her in the future. Jiao Shaoyan gritted his teeth and cursed a few times. Then, he followed his companion to the other side to meditate. Although the dispute between the two was not a big one, it was still noticed by someone with a heart. Teacher Pang was one of them. He could not help but be a little surprised. That examinee was at the 5th level of the spiritual profound realm, while Mo Fangchao was only at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. How could he have suppressed that examinee in an instant? Wasn't this movement technique too fast? This little girl had many secrets hidden. I wonder what kind of spirit root she has. From the looks of it, she should have a fire spirit root. After the second round of tests ended, Teacher Pang walked up to the high platform and announced the contents of the third round of tests. The third round of tests will still be conducted in groups. Every 2 groups will compete for a spot to enter the next round of tests. Whichever group is the first to arrive at the designated location and obtain the token will be considered to have won. However, all 4 people must arrive before it will be effective. In addition, the 2 teams are not allowed to fight. If they are discovered, both teams will be eliminated. This round of the test is still prohibited from flying and using talismans. Now, competitors will be randomly assigned. Yun Chuzhou could not help but sigh in her heart. This Heaven Punisher Academy really had many tricks up their sleeves. It was quite interesting. However, she did not know which unlucky team was going to fight with them. It was considered unlucky for them to run into team leader Little Nine. P.L.'s read on MYB Zero's novel Com Shui Wuji soon found the group that was going to fight with them on the big screen, the 10th group. Although this guy was also fearless, he couldn't help but feel nervous. The 10th group was ranked in the top 5 of these groups, but they actually ran into them. Fuck, they were really unlucky. Jin Ji and Mo Fongbing didn't look too good either. If they ran into a group with similar strength, they could still fight, but the 10th group's strength was much higher than theirs. Among the 4 people in the 10th group, 2 of them were at the 7th layer of the Ling Xian realm, and 2 of them were at the 6th layer of the Ling Xian realm. On Yun Chujia's side, Shui Wuji was at the 1st layer of the Ling Xian realm, Jin Ji was also at the 1st layer of the Ling Xian realm, and Mo Fongbing, who was slightly better, was only at the 2nd layer of the Ling Xian realm. There was also Yun Chuzhou, who was at the 6th layer of the Spirit Paragon realm. No matter how one looked at it, she had no chance of winning. Compared to Shui Wuji and the others who were dejected, the 4 people in the 10th group were extremely proud. They felt that it was too easy to take down this useless group. The leader of the 10th group was called Liang Hong. He walked in front of Yun Chuzhou and the others and said arrogantly, "Anyway, you have no chance of winning. You might as well just forfeit. This way, you will suffer less." Chapter 2199, Team Leader Little Nine's ideological work. Shui Wuji's slender and phoenix-like eyes twitched as he looked at Liang Hong with a bewitching look. "You sure talk big. What kind of ability is that? Let's see who is the one who will be eliminated." Seeing Shui Wuji's bewitching smile, some of the female examinees could not help but feel their hearts beating wildly. Although this person's spiritual power was a little low, he was really too good-looking. He was just like a person in a painting. Liang Hong saw that those female examinees were all looking at Shui Wuji with adoration, and his heart was filled with jealousy and hatred. He snorted coldly. "Boasting? I'm at the 7th level of the spiritual profound realm, and you're at the 1st level of the spiritual profound realm. Who are we boasting about? What a good-looking but useless embroidered pillow. How could Xue Wuji's short temper endure this? If this was in the Tianyuan continent, he would have long turned people into ashes. Even if his current spiritual power was not as high as Liang Hongou's, he still could not endure this anger. Seeing that Xue Wuji's eyes were filled with killing intent, Yun Chujio quickly grabbed his sleeve. Brother Wuji, why bother to stoop to the level of a mad dog? Just see the truth during the test. When Liang Hong heard Yun Chujio call him a mad dog, he was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. Stupid girl, don't be complacent. It'll make you cry when the time comes. At this moment, Teacher Pang told everyone to stand in the designated area to get the topographic map and prepare to receive the teleportation. Before Liang Hong and the others left, they glared at Yun Chujio and the others. Let's wait and see. After everyone stood in the designated area, a white light flashed. When everyone opened their eyes again, they had already been teleported to the test site. Yun Chujio originally thought that the two teams would be teleported to different locations. She did not expect that they would actually be teleported to the same location. Liang Hong and the other three looked at Yun Chujio and sneered, "Stupid girl, aren't you arrogant? You better behave yourself, or there are plenty of ways to kill you." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and did not say anything. Liang Hong was very pleased. He felt that Yun Chujio must be afraid. After mocking her a few more times, he brought the other three and left according to the map. Xue Wuji was so angry that he gritted his teeth. "Little sister Jiu, why don't you let me do it?" Yun Chujio looked at Xue Wuji. "Brother Wuji, you have to understand a fact. This is not the Tianyuan continent, and you are not the young master Wuji who stands at the top. You are now at the bottom of the food chain. You have to learn to endure." Although Xue Wuji knew that what Yun Chujio said made sense, he still said angrily, "Little sister Jiu, what you said makes sense. But can we only endure this cowardice? I am so frustrated." P.L.S. read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. The corner of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. When you're not strong enough, you naturally can only endure. However, defeating a person can not only rely on fighting head-on, there are even more energy-saving methods. Don't you just want to vent your anger? Don't worry, it'll let you vent your anger. Eliminating them is the best punishment for them. The winner of this round of test will definitely be us. Xue Wuji looked at Yun Chujio suspiciously. "Little sister Jiu, although I admit that you have a lot of tricks up your sleeve, the opponent's spiritual power is much higher than ours. Can we get the token before them?" Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "As long as you listen to me, you can definitely do it." Xue Wuji and the other two could only try their best when they saw Yun Chujio's confident look. They all nodded in agreement. Let's go, let's go." Little Nine waved his paw after he finished his thought work. Soon, Xue Wuji and the other two realized that something was wrong. Chapter 2200 was really bad, Little Jiu, this direction seems to be the direction of the 10th group. Shouldn't we choose another route? Jin Ji asked in puzzlement. Xue Wuji and Mo Fongbing also looked at Yun Chujio in puzzlement. If it was the same route as the 10th group, how could they compete with the 10th group? Yun Chujio smiled slyly. "This is the brilliance of our group leader. I've seen it just now. The third round of the test not only tests our spiritual power, but also our endurance. We need at least 3 days to reach the finish line from where we are now. Instead of choosing another route, we might as well secretly follow behind the 10th team. Let them clear the obstacles for us. We can just sit back and enjoy their achievements. At the last moment, when their spiritual power is almost used up, we'll send someone who comes later to catch up. We'll infuriate them to death. Xue Wuji and the other two looked at each other and gave each other a thumbs up. Damn it! Damn it! This method was absolutely terrible. However, they had to admit that this method was simply too great. The 10th group was charging at the front while they were conserving their energy at the back. At the end, they would take a detour and charge to the front. They would definitely be ahead of them. In the following period of time, Yun Chujio and the other three leisurely followed behind the 10th group. Anyway, they would not be able to discover it if they kept a distance. Moreover, the 10th group was dreaming. They did not expect that there would be someone so shameless as to follow behind them and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Time passed quickly. The results would not be out for at least 3 days, so Teacher Pang temporarily left the Divine Axe Square to deal with some other matters. The rest of the teachers would only pay attention to the topographic map on the big screen occasionally. The rest of the time, they would take turns to rest and meditate. When everyone was free, they would naturally chat about the situation of the test. One of the instructors said, "In the third round of the test, if we want to talk about the disparity in strength, it should be Group 10 and Group 250. This result is without any suspense." That's right. Group 10 is much stronger than Group 250. The winner will definitely be Group 10. In fact, Group 250 was just taking advantage of the situation in the second round of the test. In the third round, even if she wanted to take advantage of the situation, there was nothing she could do. After hearing everyone's discussion, the slightly plump teacher Wen raised her head to look at the big screen. Then, she was stunned with her mouth wide open. PL's read on MYB0's novel COMU, listen to me. It seems that Group 250 is taking advantage of the situation again. Teacher Wen said with a dumbfounded look. Chapter 2201 might really be able to create a miracle. The instructors craned their necks to watch. They saw the blue dot of light from Group 10 moving slowly in front, while the red dot of light from behind followed closely behind. However, they maintained a short distance, and judging from the topographic map, it looked like they were at most 10 miles away. The blue dot should be Group 10, and the red dot behind is Group 250. Why would they choose the same route? One of the instructors asked, puzzled. Another teacher slapped his thigh. Oh God, I know. Group 250's wishful thinking was like a clap of thunder. They followed behind Group 10, so they naturally didn't need to waste their energy to deal with the demon beasts. They just needed to conserve their energy. At the last moment, they would think of a way to go around to the front of Group 10. Group 10 had been busy for a long time, but they were doing this for Group 250. Oh my God, Team 250 is too despicable. When the teachers heard this, they felt like they had just woken up from a dream. Their thoughts were exactly the same as that teacher's. This method was too despicable. If Team 10 knew the truth, they would be so angry that they would vomit blood. Do you guys think that Team 250 violated the rules this time? One of the teachers asked the crowd with uncertainty. Violated the rules? Which rule of ours stipulates that two groups must choose two different routes? This Group 250 has been able to find loopholes in our rules time and time again. They clearly know that they are opportunistic, but they have no way to punish them. They are simply too cunning. Yeah, I have conducted so many entrance tests, but this is the first time I have encountered such an unconventional examinee. I thought that Group 250 was so weak that it was impossible for them to pass. Now, I'm not so sure. Maybe Group 250 will really create a miracle. These teachers were bored. Teacher Wen invited Teacher Pang over and asked him to enlarge the topographic map of Yun Chujia's group. They all wanted to see if Group 250 would be able to succeed at the last moment. Teacher Pang had been busy with other things. When he came over and saw the situation on the topographic map, he was also dumbfounded. He reckoned that this method was thought up by that Mo Fangchao again. He didn't know whether he should praise her for being smart, or was it that she was taking advantage of the situation. After Teacher Pang formed a seal with both hands, the topographic map of Yun Chujia's group was enlarged, revealing the situation inside. At this time, it was already the third day of the third round of the test. The 10th group had just killed a level 35 demonic beast. Everyone was panting heavily as they sat on the ground. P.L.s read on MYB Zero's Novell COM. One of them said, "The test this time is quite difficult. These 2 days have really exhausted me. Fortunately, we will reach the finish line in half a day." Another person echoed, "Yeah, the level of the demonic beasts here aren't low. If it weren't for the 4 of us working together, I reckon our progress wouldn't be so fast." Liang Hong said proudly, "That's right. Even if our group strength isn't ranked first, it can still be ranked in the top 5. That trash group still thinks they can compete with us. They really overestimate themselves. I reckon that they haven't even completed 1/3 of the journey. Their bodies must be riddled with injuries." The other 3 heard Liang Hong's words and laughed loudly. "Leader, you're right. If that trash group wants to beat us, the sun must have risen from the north." Teacher Wen, who was watching from outside, said faintly, "The sun might really rise from the north. This 10th group, TSK, there will be a good show to watch in a while." Chapter 2202 Red-Horned Golden Ring Python. The rest of the instructors also silently lit a candle for the 10th group. When the 10th group saw that they had exhausted most of their physical strength and spiritual power, the group 250, who had picked up the bargain, was in high spirits. However, some of the instructors had a different view. Although the 10th group has exhausted most of their physical strength and spiritual power, they are still much stronger than the group 250. Moreover, the 250th group still needs to take a detour. It's hard to say who will win. Hearing that, everyone felt that it made sense. Therefore, they were not sure which group would win. While they were discussing, they were paying attention to the progress of the matter. They saw that Mo Fangchao had already started to take a detour with the other 3 people. After Yun Chujio looked at the topographic map, she felt that the time was ripe. "We need to speed up now. Follow me." Shui Wuji and the other 2 had been holding back for the past 2 days. When they heard that they were finally going to make a comeback, they were excited and nervous as they followed Yun Chujio quickly. The 4 of them walked for about an hour before they encountered a level 35 red-horned gold-ringed python. Shui Wuji and the others felt their hearts tighten. This level 35 was equivalent to a human cultivator at the 8th level of the Lingxian realm. How could they defeat it? "Attack together! Attack the red horn on its head!" Yun Chujio shouted. Every minute and second was precious right now, so they had to seize the time. As Yun Chujio spoke, she waved her hands, and several purple lightning bolts shot toward the red horn on the head of the red-horned gold-ringed python. Heavens! She actually has a heavenly lightning spirit root. Teacher Wen cried out in surprise. Everyone was also extremely shocked. Although a heavenly lightning spirit root had appeared occasionally, it had basically died at the age of 10. This little girl actually had a heavenly lightning spirit root. It was really unexpected. It was probably because her spiritual power was too low that Tian Dao did not kill her. As her spiritual power increased, her life would probably be in danger. Just as everyone was thinking, they heard Teacher Wen exclaim, "That red-clothed kid actually has a mutated wind spirit root." Mutated wind spirit root? Everyone's gaze towards Shui Wuji became scorching hot. Wind spirit roots were much more popular than the little girl's heavenly thunder spirit root. Not only was the cultivation speed of a person with a mutated wind spirit root fast, but the power of a person with a mutated wind spirit root was much stronger than an ordinary spirit root when using the same spirit beast. Pls read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. Although this examinee's spiritual power was currently low, as long as he was given some time, he would definitely be able to amaze everyone. At this moment, many teachers were leaning towards Yunchuji's group because they felt that if they missed out on a mutated wind spirit root like Shui Wuji's, it would really be a loss for the Xingtian Academy. At this moment, Yunchujio and the others were already fighting with the red-horned golden ring python. As expected, Yunchujio and the other three fell into a disadvantageous position. Yunchujio was thinking about the countermeasures as she fought. The talisman was definitely not usable. She was also afraid that her spiritual beast would be too unbelievable, so she did not plan to use it. Naturally, the puppet could not be used. How could she kill this damn red-horned golden ring python quickly? Yunchuji's eyes suddenly lit up. There was a 10,000-year-old fire marrow in her right palm. This guy didn't care whether the 10,000-year-old fire marrow had intelligence or not. He used his spiritual sense to mumble, little flame, you said that you were staying in my palm. You didn't pay rent or anything. Are you embarrassed? No matter what, you are still a famous 10,000-year-old fire marrow. Can't you be generous and help me kill this little loach? If you help me this time, I will admit that you are the best fire in the world. Chapter 2203 was most likely bad feng shui. Hearing Yunchuji's muttering, the little black bird inside the spiritual beast pouch pouted. This black-hearted master was obviously trying to trick Xiao Hanio. Xiao Hanio's 1,000 years fire marrow was the source of all fire seeds in the world. It was originally the most awesome fire. Why did she need you to admit it? Huh. That's not right. The most awesome fire should be my nirvana fire. Humph. Yunchujio did not know what the little black bird was muttering about. She only felt a wave of heat in her right palm. Subconsciously, she fired several bolts of lightning at the red-horned golden-ringed python. The red-horned golden-ringed python did not care about the 4 humans in front of it at all. These 4 small fries would be able to kill them in less than 15 minutes. If one of Yunchuji's group died, the entire group would be teleported out. This test would also fail. Just as the red-horned golden-ringed python was feeling proud, it saw the little girl's lightning strike towards its body. The other 3 people attacked the red horn on its head at the same time, so it was impossible for the red-horned golden-ringed python to completely avoid it. It felt that it would be fine as long as it avoided the red horn on its head. After all, its body was strong, so it would not be a problem for it to be struck by a few lightning strikes. Therefore, the red-horned golden ring python dodged the attacks of Shui Wuji and the other 2. Yunchuji's lightning really struck its body. The red-horned golden ring python instantly felt a burning pain, and then nothing happened. Shui Wuji and the other 2 looked at the red-horned golden ring python that had turned into charcoal. They were so shocked that they could not speak. When did Little Jio's lightning become so powerful? Little Jio, this. Your lightning? Shui Wuji asked in surprise. Of course, Yunchujio would not tell the truth. She giggled and said, my lightning will occasionally explode. This is also a new skill that I have recently discovered. However, this thing doesn't work at all. Don't idolize me anymore. Let's hurry up. Otherwise, it would be bad if the 10th group got there first. Shui Wuji and the other 2 completely believed Yunchuji's truth, because they could not think of any other explanation. After all, it was normal for abnormal things to happen to abnormal people. Really, it was very normal. The 3 of them calmly followed Yunchujio away. The surrounding teachers who were watching could not stay calm anymore. Pls read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. Oh my god. Is the heavenly lightning spirit root so awesome? Those bolts of lightning just now actually directly turned the level 35 red-horned golden-ringed python into charcoal. Even people with spiritual void cultivation could not do it. Didn't that little girl also say that her lightning bolts would occasionally explode? Those lightning bolts probably contain the laws of heaven and earth. After all, she has the heavenly lightning spirit root. Although she's quite powerful, it's difficult to deal with her sometimes and sometimes. Moreover, she might be killed by the Tian Dao at any time, so I still don't think highly of her. You're right. I also think that the future of this Mo Fengchao is bleak. On the other hand, that Xue Wuji is not bad. He will definitely become a great asset in the future. While teacher Guagua was discussing animatedly, Yun Chuzhou and the others had not walked far when they encountered a level 35 four-eyed red-tailed fox once again. Yun Chuzhou could not help but curse in her heart. Damn it, could it be that the feng shui of the route she chose was not good? How could they encounter a high-level demon beast in just a few steps? The four-eyed red-tailed fox shot wind blades at Yun Chuzhou and the others while using the charm technique. Its 4 eyes emitted a faint blue glow. Xue Wuji did not have any problems, but Mo Fangbing and Jin Ji could not hold on any longer. They were in a daze, and their movements were becoming slower and slower. Chapter 2204 was really a strange little girl. Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to push Jin Ji and Mo Fangbing to the side, telling them not to look into the eyes of the four-eyed red-tailed fox and to meditate for a while. Yun Chuzhou knew that time was pressing at the moment. It was definitely not possible to fight according to plan. She had to end the battle quickly. This fellow once again fooled the 10,000-year-old fire marrow in his palm. Dear little flame, you are indeed the most powerful fire in the world. Come, help me again. I will not mention the matter of rent in the future. Unfortunately, the 10,000-year-old fire marrow had most likely seen through this fellow's trick. In short, there was no reaction at all. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that she wished she could bite her right palm a few times. She could not count on the 10,000-year-old fire marrow anymore. Otherwise, she would use a spiritual beast. Just as Yun Chuzhou was about to release the spiritual piglet, Xiao Hanio said smugly, "Master, have you forgotten my curse?" Yun Chuzhou was delighted. Yes, I was too busy. Quick, curse it. The little black bird began to curse with all its might. Just as the four-eyed red-tailed fox was about to release its wind blades, it suddenly staggered. Yun Chuzhou immediately fired several small purple needles at its vulnerable parts. Xue Wuji's skull of spiritual power also smashed at the four-eyed red-tailed fox's head. The four-eyed red-tailed fox felt that Yun Chuzhi's small purple needle had limited power, so it did not take Yun Chuzhi's small purple needle seriously. It only rolled on the ground and dodged Xue Wuji's skull of spiritual power. Boom! Boom! After several explosions, the 7 orifices and rear orifices of the four-eyed red-tailed fox were blasted into a bloody mess. Then, the second wave of attacks from Yun Chuzhou and Xue Wuji arrived. The four-eyed red-tailed fox was already seriously injured. How could it bear it? A moment later, it was dead. The spectators were once again in a frenzy. Oh my God! That little girl's spiritual energy materialization is actually a needle. It's the first time I've seen such a powerful spiritual energy needle. This heavenly thunder spirit root is indeed extraordinary. Logically speaking, this spiritual energy needle should be a low-level materialization technique. Why do I see that those spiritual energy needles have some intelligence? Else read on MYB0s Nov LCOM, you're right. The parts that the spirit energy needles attack are all different. It's obvious that they're selective. And did you guys notice? That Mo Fangkeo's movement technique is extremely fast. Even though she's at the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm, it looks like she's even faster than Xue Wuji's movement technique. That's right. Her movement technique isn't even slower than someone at the 6th level of the spiritual profound realm. She really is an evil little girl. Apart from these praises, there were also some different opinions. Although that little girl's spirit energy needle is rather evil, they were able to defeat that four-eyed red-tailed fox mainly because that four-eyed red-tailed fox horse stumbled. Otherwise, it would be hard to say who would win. Everyone felt that he was right. There were still quite a number of demonic beasts behind them. They did not know if this group of 250 would be able to obtain the token before the 10th group. Teacher Pang was deep in thought. His focus was different from the others. The four-eyed red-tailed fox was best at the power of charm, but Xue Wuji and Mo Fangchao were not affected. It was likely that their spiritual roots had a certain resistance to the power of charm. Then why was Xue Wuji trapped in the 7 emotions and 6 desires array during the first round of the test? Teacher Pang thought for a moment and revealed a look of understanding on his face. It was likely that the scene Xue Wuji saw when he fell into the illusion was something he had always dreamed of. Therefore, he was unwilling to wake up despite knowing that it was an illusion. This was his inner demon. Teacher Pang sighed and looked at the big screen again. He saw that Xue Wuji and the other 3 were in trouble again. Chapter 2205 Formation Loophole. Yun Chujio looked at the 4-level 35 bloodthirsty wind blade wolves in front of her. She was so angry that she cursed, "Fuck. It's already difficult to deal with one, and now there are 4 of them. This is purely because they don't want us to pass the test. Who exactly designed this stupid test? It's too shameless." The teachers were also not calm. This was not right. When they were designing, there were always individual demon beasts appearing. Why did 4 demon beasts suddenly appear this time? Moreover, they were of such a high level of spiritual power. Could it be that there was a loophole in the array formation? Teacher Pang frowned. Teacher 1, go to the array formation immediately and take a look. Is there a problem with the array formation? Why are there 4 high-level demon beasts? If it's a problem with the array formation, let them solve it immediately. Teacher Wen agreed and left quickly. In his heart, he was also biased towards Yun Chujio and the others. He wished that he could fly to the array formation immediately. Teacher Wen sprinted all the way to the array formation and explained the matter. The few teachers in charge of the array formation quickly checked. Then, they discovered a surprising, happy, and helpless fact: the array formation had given birth to a Qi Ling. Although the general direction of the array formation was still under their control, the Qi Ling was able to adjust some details on its own. In other words, the people at the array formation were also powerless when it came to what Yun Chujio and the others had encountered. Teacher Wen ran to the Divine Axe Square dejectedly and told everyone what had happened. A thought immediately flashed through everyone's mind. It seemed that this heavenly spirit root, which was not tolerated by the heavenly Tao, was actually going to help kill the Qi Ling. This Mo Fangkeo's future was really worrying. At this moment, Xue Wuji and the other 3 did not fight with the 4 bloodthirsty wind blade wolves on the screen. That little girl was talking to the 4 wolves. "For wolves, I'm really happy today," Yun Chujio said with a smile as if she did not say the curse just now. The 4 bloodthirsty wind blade wolves were stunned. Was this little girl sick? Or was she scared to death by them? Wasn't her mental endurance too weak? Little weaklings were indeed little weaklings. "Lord Wolves, do you think I'm sick?" "Actually, I'm very normal. The reason why I said I was very happy was that I didn't expect to see so many Lord Wolves who were as imposing as Sky Wolves all at once. To be able to die at your hands, I would die without regrets. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves were stunned. Serious? Serious were ancient demonic beasts, only slightly inferior to divine beasts. Were they really like Sirius? Yun Chujio was very smart. She had interacted with demonic beasts too many times and knew that demonic beasts valued the nobility of bloodlines. Thus, she continued to boast, Sirius, although I've only seen Sirius' portrait, I feel that you must have Sirius bloodline. Who knows, you might one day activate the Sirius bloodline in your body. When that time comes, you will be the kings of this forest. Oh my God! I actually saw 4 Sirius in one go. I'm really lucky. I'm going to pass out from happiness. P.L.S. read on MYB0's Nov LCOM. The corners of Shui Wuji and the other 2's eyes twitched violently. If it weren't for the tense situation, they would definitely burst out laughing. Little Jiu, your lies are simply endless. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves felt dizzy. Could they really activate the Sirius bloodline in their bodies? If that was the case, it would be too wonderful. Alright, the 4 of them had already tacitly admitted that they had the Sirius bloodline in their bodies. Where did their confidence come from? That's right, this confidence was tricked by Yun Chujio. Chapter 2206, Riding a wolf to the finish line. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves were immersed in their dream of becoming Sirius. They had long forgotten their goal. At this time, they only had one goal in their lives, and that was to become Sirius. Yun Chujio saw that the time was almost right. She said with a smile, Sirs, the Sirius bloodline can only be activated when there is a suitable time. But I think that the spiritual power in the body is skyrocketing. Maybe it can really activate the bloodline. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves were stunned. The spiritual power in their bodies explodes? How could the spiritual power in their bodies explosively increase? It could only be done if they had eaten a heavenly treasure. However, where could they find a heavenly treasure? Sirs, are you suffering because you don't have a way to increase your spiritual power explosively? I do. Do you want to know? Shui Wuji and the other 2 seemed to have seen a furry fox tail growing out of Yun Chujio's back. Ah, no, it should be 9 tails. Perhaps only the 9-tailed fox had so much evil water. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves did not know that the person standing in front of them was a little demon. They thought that she was a kind and good girl. They looked at Yun Chujio with anticipation, waiting for her to continue. Sirs, you also know that we humans are good at refining pills. I have many bottles of instant spirit pills here. If you swallow them, your spiritual power will definitely soar. It might even trigger the Sirius bloodline in your body. Even if we can't trigger the Sirius bloodline, the spiritual power level will increase by 1 level. Do you want it? The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves howled continuously. It was obvious that they were prepared to threaten Yun Chujio to hand over the pills. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips. Sirs Wolf, there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. It's useless for you to threaten me. At most, we won't pass the test. We didn't have much hope anyway. If you want to get the pills and have the chance to activate the Sirius bloodline, there's only one way, and that's to escort us to the slope 30 miles away from here. When we get there, they'll naturally give you the pills. The 4 bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves looked at each other and roared a few more times, obviously communicating. You don't have to worry that I won't keep my promise. I can swear on my inner demon oath. As long as you escort us to our destination, if I don't give you the pills, you'll be struck by lightning. Think about it, what a good deal this is. As long as we walk lightly for 30 miles, we will get the opportunity to activate the Sirius bloodline. After this village, there won't be such a shop anymore. The opportunity is reserved for beasts who are prepared. Roar roar. Roar roar. The four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves really couldn't stand Yun Chujia's boisterous chatter. They were even brainwashed into thinking that if they didn't seize this opportunity, they would be letting down their wolf skin. P.L.S. read on MYB0's novel com Yun Chujio saw the four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves nod their heads in agreement. She rolled her eyes and said, "For wolves, we are too slow to walk. Carry us on your backs. This way, you can quickly obtain the pill that stimulates the serious bloodline." This fellow secretly changed his concept. It was clearly a pill that increased spiritual power. As he spoke, it turned into a pill that stimulated the serious bloodline. These four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves were also stunned by the deception. In a daze, they carried Yun Chujio and the other three and ran towards the finish line. The teachers in front of the display screen were already dumbstruck, their minds completely blank. Oh God! Oh Earth! Was it because they hadn't woken up yet, or was the world changing quickly? That little girl had fooled the four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves into carrying them to the finish line. Those were four beasts of the 35th rank. Chapter 2207, The opportunity for revenge had arrived. The teachers could no longer express their shock in words. All of them stared at the big screen with their eyes wide open. Could it be that the four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves would really be obedient? Wouldn't they attack them ferociously midway? Shui Wuji and the other two were even more dumbfounded than the teachers. The three of them couldn't believe it even until they sat on the back of the bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves. Weren't they still on the line of life and death 15 minutes ago? Why was little Jiu so cocky? Now, these level 35 demon beasts had become their mounts. With the protection of four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves, the remaining 30 miles could be said to be unimpeded. Yun Chujio sat on the back of one of the bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves. From afar, she could see the four people of Team 10 walking towards the finish line from the other direction. The four members of Team 10 were obviously exhausted, so they didn't walk very fast. Yun Chujio was afraid of alerting the enemy. She lowered her voice and said to the windblade wolf she was riding, "Master Wolf, speed up. Do you see those four people? They are all stopping us from reaching the finish line. We must overtake them." When the bloodthirsty wind-blade wolf heard Yun Chujio's words, a cold glint immediately appeared in its eyes. In its mind, stopping them from going to the slope meant stopping them from awakening the serious bloodline. It was simply courting death. In its heart, this bloodthirsty wind-blade wolf hated the four people from Team 10. When it got its hands on the medicinal pills, it would definitely bite those four little ants to death to vent its anger. The four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves increased their speed and quickly dashed towards the slope. The four members of Team 10 bragged proudly as they walked, "Do you guys think that trash team can make it halfway? They are so trash. I think that they can't even make it a third of the way, and they still want to compete with us. They are simply overestimating themselves." Hearing his companion's words, Liang Hong said arrogantly, "When we go out, we will humiliate them, especially that red-clothed one. He is just an embroidered pillow. I don't like him." At this time, one of them said in horror, "You, look. In front." Liang Hong and the other two looked in the direction of that person's finger and saw four bloodthirsty windblade wolves running toward the finish line. On the back of the bloodthirsty windblade wolves sat four people. It was actually Shui Wuji and the others. How is this possible? How could they tame four bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves? The bloodthirsty wind-blade wolves are level 35 demonic beasts. One of them said in disbelief. P.L.S. read on MYB0's novel com Liang Hong's reaction was faster.